The one.
The one that they all want.
It is the one. What is going on, guys? I am WatchJRGo, and like I said in the title, I am here with 100% Jake. And today it is very, very cold outside, so what we decided to do was go live and hang out with you guys because I think everybody's at home, right? At least if you're in the Midwest, you're definitely at home because it is one outside.
1 degree.
Let's see. Currently 1. And the wind chill is like -20. So we figured we'd jump on here and talk cars and just have some fun. Talk about built versus bought and all that good stuff. Who's Darth Vader? I don't know who Darth Vader is. So we're here in my house because it's warm. It's 74 in here. And like I said, Jake's here. And tomorrow, Elliot's going to be here, and we're going to keep talking about cars because there's basically not much we can do outside. And I'll try to answer a lot of the questions, but the Rolls Royce is in my driveway. So anyway, built versus bought. What do you think of CVT transmissions? Well, that doesn't come into this at all because if you're building cars, you probably don't have a CVT because you can't really make power on them other than the belt-driven ones on side-by-sides and there's not really any supercars with CVTs.
It's kind of unfortunate because they're kind of perfect.
It's kind of the perfect transmission.
Yeah, like they work so well in the CVTs.
But also the worst transmission.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that thing where it is ideal for power.
There was 2 years when CVTs were brand new that they were perfect because the stupid public hadn't yet had their input and been like, it feels like it's slipping. Where are my gears at? And then everyone started to make them shift gears.
Yep, and it ruined them.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yep. CVTs are completely ruined. Anyway, where CVT rants aside, built versus bought, supercars versus, or at least fast cars you can go buy. Like what? Yeah, I mean, we're talking C8s, Hellcats, supercars, everything above. Honestly, everything out of the box above like 600 horsepower. Even though that includes all the stock BMWs now too, and all the stock Mercedes.
Yeah.
Like almost everything now can make 600 out of the box. So would you guys want to build a 600 to 1,000 horsepower car or just go buy one? Because you can honestly just go buy as much horsepower as you want. That is the question. So we'll look at chat here for a second and then we'll talk about, our take on it. Camaro ZL11LE, that's it. That one's super fast. There's no doubt about the 1LE being a monster. Turbo RE, that's in the garage. Why? I don't ever wear a hat. This one's just sitting on my desk. Shout out to my friends at J&J Auto Wrecking. Building is more interesting. I can't actually be in the building. It's one inside there too.
No, you're building a car, not the building.
Oh, building, man. Oh, building. Yeah, building cars is more interesting. I see that now. It makes sense. Context. Depends on the car for sure.
Yeah, because even in that horsepower range, it can still be boring, depending on how the power is delivered.
That's right. There's lots of extremely fast cars now that can be boring.
Yeah. I mean, so like a Hellcat with all of its power is still mostly fun at below 60 miles an hour because that's when the torque is really punching you back.
Yep.
Above that, if you're getting on the highway and just going, you get the initial wave and you're just kind of
nothing else is happening. That's it. That's it.
The numbers are increasing, but I'm not having more fun as we go.
That might be one of my favorite things about the CTSV, the second gen CTSV, because it does deliver its power like that. It's exceedingly boring and amazing at it. It's so, because it's a good old man car, right? It's kind of nice to have that power in an old man car. It just is fast. You can tell that car is wildly quick.
Yeah. But
the delivery is just and the speedometer is just flying.
That's something I always thought the old AMG cars were really good at.
They were really good at that.
Well, they make their power a little higher up. So you get a torque.
Yep.
And then the mid-range is kind of dead, but then as you start to get up and attack, it starts shoving you back more and more and more, and you're like, oh, it's like a roller coaster.
That is a good feeling. That is a good. It's kind of like all the early turbo cars.
Oh yeah.
And most of those early turbo cars were always built for the most part, right? I mean, if they weren't, they came out of the box and they made okay power, like 250, 300, all the turbo 4-cylinders, and then all of us got a hold of them and put 50 trim, 60 trim kits on them, and they were fast.
I always love turbo lag is one of I'm still convinced anyone who thinks that turbo lag is an objectively bad thing has no soul because it's so much fun.
It is fun. It's like sitting in a slingshot.
Oh, I've driven some really turned up turbo cars where it's like you put your foot down and you wait and you wait. Oh, and then there goes your rear tires just spinning away. Grand Nationals are like that a lot. Grand Nationals are so much fun.
Absolutely.
I really want to get an old Thunderbird Turbo Coupe.
Yeah,
Especially one with a stick, just to make it even more awful.
It's a terrible car, actually.
Oh, it's
what a bad car.
The drivetrain is not at all suited to a manual, but it would just be so much more dumb and funny.
Absolutely.
And it would tear that poor T5 to shreds as soon as you start throwing boost at it.
But if you buy this stuff, a lot of it is just so good now. Like, honestly, most fast cars have really turned into video games, and it's really good.
Yeah.
Right? When the GTR came out, the GTR was the beginning of the video game era there.
Yeah.
Crimson 6, thank you so much for your super chat there. And
I want a Saab too.
Yeah, Saabs are awesome. I can't say enough good things about Saabs. But the video game era, when the GTR came out, wasn't really as video gamey as we thought.
Yeah.
Because the GTR is really a dinosaur. It's an absolutely terrible dinosaur. And it's amazing to drive now because of how old it is. And honestly, most of them are all built.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Everything became so video gamey. Jeremy Clarkson actually rolled back what he said about the GTR. He's like, never mind. It's super analog compared to what you have.
Yeah, the GTR is basically perfection. I don't know if there's anything better than that because of how bad it is. When you get in like a Huracan or something else that's new and has the real power, when you shift, it pushes through the shift like it read your mind before you click the button, which is just unbelievable. And the GTR is nothing like that. The GTR slams into gear and sets you back in your seat and you giggle. And
yeah,
that's kind of the perfect car.
Everything's kind of gotten so competent these days that I crave imperfection.
Yeah, bad cars have become really good.
It's, yeah. I mean, the Nissan Versa Note is still trash, but...
That is a very bad car. I had one as a rental one.
I got one as a rental, and I was like, no, a lot.
Never been more disappointed in my life in a car. I wish I would have never been inside that thing.
Yeah, a lot of people say that there are no bad cars anymore, but that's one of them.
Yeah.
And what's the little Mitsubishi?
Oh, the Mirage or whatever?
Yeah.
Doug DeMuro had some angry words to say about that, and I agreed with all of them. It was very, very bad. Yeah, the Sock Monkey, thank you so much for your super chat there. 4.9 Cadillac V8 Fiero would be pretty wild. Pretty wild.
I still think if you're somewhere in between built versus bought, like you want to have a lot of fun, you don't want to do a whole bunch of modifications, but you don't want something brand new, C5Z or a C6Z and go get the heads done is just the best deal on the market right now.
It really is. If we're talking about cars that go buy as an enthusiast, the C5 is kind of the end-all be-all. The C6 is good, but if you're going to pay more for a C6, and you can get C5s for dirt cheap.
And the sneaky thing to do is these days, the turbo kits for the NC Miatas are so figured out that you can buy an NC for $9,000 that's well sorted, buy a turbo kit for $5,000, and you'll have a $15,000 car that's faster than any $15,000 car you can buy.
Miata is always the answer.
It is.
That's what
NC's prices are starting to go up as people discover them. Because these days, the NAs and NBs are so popular because of between Radwood and the fact that they've always been cheap. I bought my NC for cheaper than like a reasonable shape NBs go for. It's absurd.
Absolutely.
Not quite 600 horsepower. But
no, but you're talking like, low, mid, I don't know, mid high 200s.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's really good.
A 2.5.
Usable.
Yeah, a 2.5 with a turbo. You could do that build for about $7,000 on top of the price of the car and make 350 wheel.
Yep.
If you're going to track it though, you will need to do a lot of like cutting holes in the hood to keep the underhood temps down.
Back to what we were saying, the C5 is also like less than the price of the turbo kit and easily better.
Yeah. And you could just throw a rear mount turbo kit on it and there you go.
Yep.
Or an F body.
But I don't think the F body is much of a track car or even a
and they're not much of a value proposition anymore either.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know what the GTOs are like. I've never driven one.
The GTOs held their value, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all like $10,000 for the most part.
And they also came in that baller purple color.
Oh man, I do love that car. I love the car. Let's see what we got in chat. Built 5.3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always a solid option.
Yeah, there's always the sloppy stage 1.
Oh,
if you're super boring.
The Daytona 500 turned out. I didn't even know that.
That's today.
People were saying they were going to watch it yesterday. Why are all the automotive content creators in Kansas?
Because there's nothing else to do here.
That's what we do here. We have cars.
It's like, oh gosh, we got cows and straight roads. Let's just make some videos.
There you go. You put cars on the straight roads. Done. throwing a turbo on an E34 535. That actually sounds pretty awesome. That's a pretty old school 5 Series too. And it's 3 liter, right? Should be.
Yeah, I keep trying to tell Elliot Alvis that he needs to boost his 5 Series.
Elliot didn't like our suggestions of blowing up his free BMW with the turbo. But it could be done, and it could be reliable.
Oh, yeah.
Probably just needs engine management.
Yeah. Oh, the stock ECU will do it. He's got the one that's easy to tune.
Oh, all right. Well, that'll be cool. Do a Mercedes collab with legit street cars. Well, he was just here. I'm sure you guys saw his video where he was driving back from Kansas. He was at the warehouse the other day.
Nice guy.
Kia Stinger GT2, is that someone's answer for bot? Because I think it's a pretty good answer for bot, honestly.
Yeah.
It's a good car. They took all the cars that we liked as enthusiasts and just kind of super glued them together. You can tell immediately, like if you just look at the Stinger, you're like, oh, that's that car, that's that car. It's like 8 different good enthusiast cars, and they just glued them together, and Kia was like, now we have a car. We've done it.
Yeah, it's kind of the epitome of the extremely competent yet boring.
Yeah, it is. It does seem pretty boring.
They do scoot, though.
It's weird that nobody like loves the car. I don't think the review world fell in love with it. I don't think anyone like fell in love with it, but it's just a good car.
Yeah. Which
is probably the worst place to be. You either need to be loved or hated as a car. You don't want to be like just good. So is Hoovy an android? I don't think so, but he does watch a lot of Star Trek, so he could be Data. I don't know. I always wanted to be Data.
Yeah.
Bought Tesla Model S Plaid. That doesn't even count. You can't even count EVs in this conversation because they just break all laws of physics, basically. It doesn't make any sense. EVs are unbelievable. It's a whole nother ballgame.
Yeah.
It's just too fast.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see where things go as more stuff becomes EVs. The problem with stuff like the Plaid is that you can't use it like anywhere on public roads.
Oh, please.
I mean,
maybe you can't use it on public. I've done it a million times.
Well, without your license getting taken away.
The thing is, you're only going like 500 feet.
Yeah.
Right? Because you figure it accelerates to 60 so fast. It's just like the Taycan. You leave every stoplight and you can do a full launch, stand on the brake, full gas, dump the brake, and it instantly says 60, and then you have to let out because as long as you're first at the light, you can launch at every single light. The problem with EVs being this fast is that you get really, really massive headaches because it's like being launched out of a limb roller coaster every few minutes. Like every stoplight is launching you from a roller coaster. And everyone, if you've been to a lot of theme parks, and I love roller coasters to death. Roller coasters are one of my favorite things. It hurts, especially if you do 2 days in a row of theme parks. Mm-hmm. Like by the next day, it feels like you just got punched in the head many, many times, right? Yeah. So the EVs are the same way. They literally beat your body up so badly because they're so fast that it's tough.
I'm really looking forward to something like an EV Miata or BRZ.
Well, we should. That has to have been done, but we should definitely EV Miata.
Yeah. People EV swap me out. I mean, there was an NV2 with a P100D rear powertrain stuffed in it that would run like 8s.
That sounds nasty. That sounds insanely fast. Do you ever get any sleep these days? Yeah, I do a little sleeping. Early 90s Taurus SHO. So what? Is that the
V6 one or the V8 one?
I should still have
that should be the
Yamaha engine is like mid 90s.
Okay.
But I think it might have been another Yamaha engine before that. I don't know the SHO lineup that well. One of them is the V8, but it's not really built or bought. It's like factory built good.
It's not going to light the world on fire. Though the new SHO is a decent performance. That's sort of a sort of built thing because they're real, like out from the factory, they run a 13, but it's the most boring power delivery ever. But a tune and a cat back, and now you're in the 12s in a pretty reliable car. Yeah, and you still haul your family around, which is something to be said about that. So it's like a sort of, and it's not too expensive to build. I think the SHO mods are like $3,000-$4,000 to run. And they've shoved that engine in absolutely everything, so it's a known quantity. If you can get over how trash the Taurus is in every other aspect. What are you talking about? It's got heated seats, cooled seats, heated steering wheel, I think, nav, panel gaps like this, and everything's misaligned.
This is made in America. You're allowed to do that.
I feel so claustrophobic in those cars because the center console comes up to like here. Yeah. And the door panel is like intruding in on you.
Oh no, that one's perfect. The Taurus was like Ford nailing design. What happened? The Explorer is the one that makes me sick because they made it for like, let's just say drivers that were exceedingly wide, and your arms can't touch the doors. And it's literally like the worst car to ever drive because you can't rest your arm on the door unless you lean like this while you're driving. It's really, really bad like that. Anyway, we're off on an ergonomics side here.
Explorer with the V12 twin, the V6 twin turbo
EcoBoost.
You can do the same mods to it though.
Yep.
Same. I mean, they're the same platform.
And have a car you hate driving because you can't reach the door.
Yeah, unless you're large.
I don't really think there's anyone in here that needs moderated. There are like no comments that need moderated at all. So I'm just gonna not, because we have moderators.
People aren't calling for my head on a stick because I don't like the Taurus.
There's no, definitely.
The Taurus is dead. It's a real shame because the Explorer is rear-wheel drive now, and a rear-wheel drive Taurus, and importantly, a Continental built on that rear-wheel drive Taurus platform would have been amazing.
Yes, that would have been cool. And I also don't know what worst OBD codes to avoid is. I don't know all of them.
OBD 666 engine has been possessed.
It's clearly not real.
Are there any OBD codes for engine currently on fire?
I'm dealing with one right now at a Hyundai from last night. That's P001,000 on it, and it's apparently super common. The oil plug in the end of the electronic CVT module like blows out of them. It was a recall.
I did see someone asking, I don't remember what car it was, but they were like, hey, what's this code mean? And someone's like, oh, it means your ECU's gone bad. It's very common in these. I'm like, what? Someone was asking how the Park Avenue is doing. It doesn't start in the cold. HP tuners won't let me tune cranking enrichment, so I cannot get the car to give it enough E85 when it's cold to actually start. Unfortunately, that's just a fact of running E85. Other than that, it's fine. I think it's probably making around 300 horsepower-ish, but I got plans to make more eventually, but I need to clearly service the trans, finish rebuilding the front suspension, the rear suspension.
Have you considered maybe just parking it inside where it'll start every morning?
It's just as cold inside because my garage heater has broken, which is also why I have not worked on it.
That's why I'm not working today too. It's like the heater, the 600,000 could not keep up. It was so cold.
Yeah, I actually drove the inside here because my very first drive in the BMW after putting the new doors on and everything, the cooling system exploded on the highway. It was real good. So we towed it home and it is sitting waiting for me to figure that out. I get the feeling the previous owner was like, yeah, I redid the whole cooling system. I was like, great, something I don't have to worry about. But I think he rebuilt the cooling system by going like sort by price, lowest to highest, and putting the cheapest expansion tank he could find in there, which is not what you want to do.
Yeah, BMW things.
Yeah.
So Uswin Wood said, are you planning on building a kit car in the near future? So I was planning on building a kit car that needs an Impala SS. And some kit car fans may know exactly what kit car that is, but it's beautiful. And it's only $17,000 for all of the body panels and the chassis and everything, right? So you're not in it a lot. You need a $17,000 kit and a donor car.
Yeah, I really want to build either a Factory 5 hot rod truck, which is the super cool 40s style, but it's all a tube chassis with push rod suspension, handles really well. Or I want to build one of the Utes.
I gotcha.
Based on the Dodge Charger.
Yeah. There's that kit for it.
Yeah.
They sell like a bed. They sell everything. So you can.
And it uses Grand Caravan taillights. And a Ford Ranger tailgate.
Did you sell the R8? I did not. It's sitting in the garage. Best value Lincoln MKT with the TT EcoBoost. I don't think it's that ugly. It's really an okay car.
I like the facelifted ones a lot better. But yeah, it's just a Taurus SHO with a tuxedo on.
Yeah.
They're really good cars.
Tim, thank you so much for your super chat. Living quarters in the warehouse. We'll see. I can't actually.
Sell the house.
I'm not talking about Factory 5, even though one of my favorite cars is the Factory 5 GTM. Yeah.
I saw a GTM that had a 3.5 twin turbo in there, the EcoBoost engine, mounted to a Porsche manual transaxle, and it was really cool. So it was basically a current gen Ford GT with a stick. But the guy told me, he showed me some pictures of when he got it, had all this scaffolding hanging off the back, and he said it was actually owned by an exhaust company and a manufacturer, and he didn't name the name, but it was used as a test bed for Ford testing different exhaust setups for the new GT. So they would just bolt different mufflers onto the rear there, and he showed me where they had to actually put a real exhaust on it. But that thing was so cool.
Somebody figured out what my car is.
Uh-oh.
There's one comment.
And sitting right next to it was a Pontiac Mera, and some of you might know what that is, but it was a Pontiac Mera with a supercharged 3800 and a jet drag manual transmission. And it was gorgeous. I loved that car so much.
If I wouldn't do a Factory 5 Cobra because that's just really being a poser.
So overdone.
It's such a, like, at first it's like the worst one there is. It's probably the poorest Cobra kit. You want a backdraft Cobra, or you can buy the real one. Yeah. Who builds the real one again? You guys will know who builds the real reproduction. You get to keep your Shelby license number if you buy theirs. So it's like that one's the best. Superformance, right? Superformance builds the real one, and then the backdraft and the Factory 5 is like the one you do not want. It has no resale and it's not very good.
Yeah.
So what you want, like, obviously I would do a GTM because I could slap a Corvette in it real fast and be done. And like I figured less than a month.
Yeah.
You can put that car together very fast.
It's the cheapest way to have a supercar.
Yeah, it's really super cool.
Built, not bought.
Built, not bought. You know, you did it yourself, and you did it for a $5,000 Corvette and a $20,000 with paint chassis. Yeah.
You can't buy a supercar for that.
You can't buy a supercar for that. And you're still not getting a supercar because it's just a Corvette.
Yeah.
But
well, it's mid-engine.
It is mid-engine, and it's cool. It looks amazing.
You could maybe get some Ferraris that cheap.
It's kind of all gone. All the cheap Ferraris are really kind of gone.
How much did he pay for his?
35 or 40 or something.
Gosh, okay.
Yeah, and that was the cheapest one.
I do love that car though.
That's a great car.
Perfect.
Great car. T Tom, thank you so much for your super chat. What do you think about M1 Max? I don't have one yet, but Jake just got one, and I think I'm gonna have to. That's like the best Mac there is. That's like the $5,000 i9, every option, all the RAM, all the video card, and I think the M1 can hang with it. And I wish obviously I wish I didn't have that. I've had it for a long time, but it is like my daily driver. I have to have it because it's fast enough to render videos every night in 20 minutes. But I really do need an M1 because that needs to go in for service. That's why I need an M1. Yeah.
Yeah, I spent $1,100 on an M1 Mini with 16 gig of RAM and a 256 gig internal because that's just scratch space. As soon as I'm done with the project, it goes on to an external. I'm using Premiere. I'm not even using Final Cut yet, so Premiere isn't even optimized for the M1 yet. It's running in Rosetta 2. I can render a 10-minute 4K video in about 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And there's basically no lag or latency whatsoever when I'm editing. It beats my PC all to heck, even though my PC had like an actual graphics card and that sort of stuff.
So our take on that is they're dirt cheap. And they're just as capable as the one that cost tons of money 3 years ago when they made that, or 2 years ago.
Yeah, they're actually an excellent value.
Yeah. Yep. So back off the computers. Computers are both of our things, so we love talking about them. Speaking of, this just got the one that you guys are like watching this live stream on just got a 3070. Unfortunately, I had to overpay. Somebody said, "How's both Camaros?" Both Camaros are very built. Those are both pretty custom cars, and they both need a lot of work.
What Camaros?
My 94 and 67.
Oh.
Yeah, because we're going to rebody the 67 whenever I can get away to go all the way to California and pick up the body. And then the 94 needs to go get all the body work done. And all
so
that
never.
Yeah, well, it's going to get done. It's going to get done. 100%. Alfa Romeo 4C or Giulia QV for a project. The Quadrovalia or whatever.
I love the 4C.
The 4C's it, obviously. Yeah. The 4C is the one that's the actual Alpha. The other ones were just like, I think they were thrown together for the US market and they're very bad.
Yeah.
Everybody hates them. They're always broken. They're not a standout performer.
I haven't heard a whole lot of issues with the 4C.
Yeah, and you can just type in like Giulia and find just nightmare after nightmare of them never running once in their lives.
Road and Track, who was in the shop like 8 times.
Yeah, over eight months or something. Like every month it spent like 3 weeks in the shop.
Absolute nightmare.
Broke Premiere, thank you so much for your super chat. Are you planning to flip higher end cars after the shop's done? No, sort of. I don't really plan on changing what I do, which is like normal cars. But I will always like plan on having a supercar around. I mean, the goal is to have an Aventador, so I need to like flip a whole lot of Hondas so I can afford an Aventador. Probably 330,000 of them, 330 of them, right? It's not 330,000. Yeah. So I do like to have a nice car around, which is why the R8's here. But no, I do like working on normal cars. Normal cars are more fun to work on for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jag XJR. Nope, too old. Not good.
There's another built not bought cheap speed thing. D series single jingle Honda and an eBay turbo kit.
Yep, I do know where we can get an eBay turbo kit that's pretty cheap. So
yeah, eBay.
Even cheaper than eBay.
I really wish that I still had my Honda because I would have done that by now.
And you know what? I have a forklift turbo that's sitting on a friend's shelf that I bought a long time ago for 20 bucks. Maybe we should turbo my forklift.
Yeah.
It's a forklift turbo.
It just kills me to think of like when I was in high school, I had my Honda and I would be on eBay going like, oh man, $600, that's so expensive. And then it's $300 for an ECU. And these days I'm like, boy, I spent that on control arms.
Oh yeah. That's true. That's BMW things. They soak up your money. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Should have bought Hoovie's CL65. No. That's a huge job fixing that thing.
Yeah.
Huge job.
The right person definitely ended up with that car.
Yeah. And Alex has another Mercedes tech that's coming in to do it with him.
Yeah.
So they'll spend probably a week or plus getting that job done.
That's probably pretty great built not bought too.
Yeah, that is
upgrading the turbos in one of those early 2000s V12s.
Yep, it is the Hellcat in a box basically.
Yeah, I love the S600 of that generation. The W220s are a horrible idea, but so much fun.
So Aventador or twin turbo C8? That's the real question here, right? Is that built not bought?
Yeah.
Which one do you take?
Probably the C8 because I prefer how it looks.
Oh no, it's the wrong answer. It's the wrong answer. There, like no like C8 TT will ever really run for a while. I think because nobody has really gotten.
They can't be tuned.
They can't tune them.
It uses 256-bit encryption. That's literally impossible to break. So every tuning option for the C8 is a piggyback.
Yep. So
and it's a mess.
They keep kind of making them work, but then they blow up a few weeks later.
Yeah, the only solution is going to be when someone makes a standalone that's plug and play, which I'm sure they will.
Yeah,
like, it'll be a matter of a year or so.
Yeah, you can probably put a Motec on it.
Yeah,
or Motec solves all problems.
Excuse me while I mega squirt my $80,000 car.
Right. Good old $800 ECU. Caprice Holden or Turbo Subaru.
Caprice.
Yeah, the Caprice probably. The Turbo Subaru. So I've driven both big turbo Subarus.
Yeah.
And Alex's Caprice PPV, which was incredible. I never stopped like enjoying life in that car. It was awesome, right? That's a good car just because it was like loud and obnoxious and the perfect amount of power and just fun because people think you're a cop. So that's hilarious. But the Turbo Subaru with like 500 plus horsepower when you get out on the highway, oh man, that's another world. It's really a very different power delivery, and it starts pulling hard above 100, which is crazy.
You just have to be real careful with how you do it.
Yeah, that's true because they like to pop.
Yeah.
Mike, thank you so much for your super chat. Lexus ISF, great car, 500 horsepower, minimal mods. I love the ISF. I think I've told the story on here before when I went and tried to buy one, and there was like a bad smell coming out of the hood. I was like, it smells like there's a dead animal in the hood. And the car salesman was like, no, that's not possible. I was like, no, I think there is. And then they got it back to the dealership and there was definitely like a squirrel. That would like, it was gross. It was really bad. So yeah,
should have just asked.
I love the ISF and I didn't end up getting that one. So
I like the way those sound. I don't like that generation of IS though. And I know I'm in the minority there. I just think they're ugly.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love it. Plans for the shop? It's my place to work. There are no other plans other than it being the greatest place on the planet after we're done. But it's my place to work with free lifts. And honestly, like friends have been using the lifts all the time already. Jake was using them on his car the other day. By My Bits, we did his Mustang the other day. So it will be like a place for all of us to work while saving us all lots of money because nobody has to like go anywhere else to use that stuff. You know, it fully furnished. We can just come in and use it.
Yeah.
Matt, thank you so much for your super chat. Thanks for watching the channel. Rebuild a Aventador or buy a Aventador? I need an 09 Impala SS for 4,800. So like, I'll take that deal if you don't want it. DRAM LP, shoot me some info on that car. I need exactly that. It has to be 06 to 09. Yeah, you don't want to piggyback, Vince. That's the thing. Like they've got a C8 running on a piggyback, but it's not the way to do it. You really need a standalone. Really want a standalone.
I just remember more cheap, fast car ideas.
What's the cheap, fast car idea?
Lexus SCs.
Yes.
SC300.
Big turbo.
And big single turbo.
Big single.
Yep.
Yeah, baby Supra.
Yep. Just throw super parts at it and go fast.
There you go.
Done.
Yep. And honestly, they're cheap.
Yeah.
And it looks good, which is really like you don't want to be driving a Honda with a turbo at this point, unless it's just perfect.
Yeah.
If it's perfect, the respect is insane.
Yeah. Unless it's the cleanest thing in the world. But yeah, a single like the 2JZGE is good for about 450 before you start getting into the bottom end because the rods are a little weaker than the GTE. Or you can 1J swap it for next to no money, or no money. Those engines still go for like $2-3 grand, but with how much power you can get out of them, it's really nothing.
Yeah, you can do your 900 horsepower build and have something fun that only works in road races, but it's fun to drive around.
Yeah,
or you
can be a little more original and throw turbos at the 1UZFE.
Yep,
and make V8 noises.
Good noises.
They do make good noises.
My Tune 500 at Barth. I love that car. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a antisocial car.
Yeah, I mean, I felt so bad actually starting that thing in the neighborhood. It was so loud, but man, it was fun to drive.
Yeah.
And it has turbo lag and it's fun. Like it's a good car.
Not going to win races, but the power delivery is the epitome of fun.
Yeah, exactly. And that's probably a pretty built car because you can buy it mostly where you want it, but you still have to do a couple things to make it fun.
I'm very curious to drive the 124 Abarth and see what that's like.
Oh, the Miata.
Yes,
the Fiat.
And ND Miata with an NC's transmission and the engine from the 500 Abarth.
Yeah.
I'm real curious what that's like. And they stopped making them, so I don't know what prices are going to do, but I'd like to pick one up.
Well, hopefully go down as enthusiasts. Like we need them to go to $3,000.
Exactly. Yeah, because I don't want the Italian version, even though that engine is used in like every Jeep and every Fiat that's out there, and they're great.
Chi-Town Bulls, thank you for your super chat. Do you prefer LS or Hemis? Is that really even a question as an enthusiast? Like the Hemi is not a good engine in reality.
Yeah.
Like it's Mopar. I mean, sure, if you're on the Mopar gang or something, but like they're always going to wipe out the cam bearings. They don't make power for what they are, and the parts cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Everything about it is bad.
The LS is objectively better. But me being who I am, I really like the Hemis. They sound really good.
It does sound good. Yep. And I get if you're like a Hemi person or you like to say the word Hemi, but it doesn't have any like benefits to an LS.
That's one car that I liked way more than I expected. It was a facelifted, a second-gen Chrysler 300, all-wheel drive with the Hemi, which was only available for like 3 years. But brake boosting and launching an all-wheel drive V8 like domestic car is the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
Because it just goes. It goes like a Subaru, but sounds like a muscle car, and it was. And the interiors aren't that bad.
The interiors are really good in the 300. Yeah. I actually like that thing a lot.
Yeah, that after 09 or so, Chrysler started to become something that you could own.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they got the Charger interior, and it's really good.
Yeah.
The Charger interior was the thing.
Yeah, I like all the first-gen LX stuff, but they're not good cars to own.
Patrick, thank you so much for your super chat. Thank you for buying an 89 HJ61 Toyota Land Cruiser turbo diesel 12 HT with a manual, 128,000 miles. Most original you've seen. So, yeah, I mean, that seems like a good chunk of money, $25,000.
It seems like something you could buy and hang on to and sell.
And if it's clean, it might double in value.
Yeah, like, I'd expect to see that on Bring a Trailer here in 5 years, selling for dumb money.
And I mean, obviously the Land Cruiser is the king, right? I mean, if you can do overland stuff in it, the old ones look really good. They've got that nice box shape, you know. I don't think it's a bad deal because you probably won't lose.
Yeah. So
pending a crazy thing happening to the market, it's a move. When are you buying the cheapest Grand National in America? If I could find, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a huge W body kind of person. G body person. I forgot I am a W body person.
A friend's been offering a 4-door G body Malibu to me for a while. I've been wanting to make
put a turbo on it.
Turbo 3800. Yeah, like a newer 3800 with a turbo and a TH400.
That is a good point. That another comment said you would not want to off-road that Land Cruiser, and you probably would not. If it's nice, you should never take it off-road. Otherwise, you'll lose all that money.
Yeah.
So
good car to buy if you don't want to use it.
a weird comment here. Brain Trailer is a garbage site. People with more money than brains. As an enthusiast, you want that market because that's where your cars need to go so that you can make money to buy more cars. It's kind of the best site. Like, that's where all the money is.
I love Bring a Trailer just because it's an endless place for me to waste time looking at quality pictures.
Museum of cars. Perfect cars.
Like, and there's so many XJSs.
Oh, yeah. That's true. AJ wants to know if you got the expansion tank fixed.
Not yet. I haven't even looked at it yet. It's been 1 degree in my shop.
Yep, it's very cold. How do you feel about GMT 400s? I love them. We're going to do one very soon. I have one lined up for you guys. It used to be mine. How nice to see you have a Valentine's date. Jake's got to go home to his wife. OM606 Mercedes turbo diesel. What are your thoughts?
Great engines.
Yep.
Like, indestructible. I'd love to have one.
All those old.
That's what got Hoovy started on YouTube. One of his first things was manual swapping one of those 300Ds, and I'm so upset that I never got to drive it. There was one for sale that was already swapped down in Winfield for like $6,000.
Carter, I saw your message about that '08 Buick Enclave earlier, but I don't think you're in Kansas, and there's no Buick Enclave worth traveling more than like 1 hour for.
That's
so sorry.
Traverse, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to have one for content because it's a great normal car.
I think they're cool looking.
Yeah, I like the car.
I really like the styling, and I've always wanted to dump one.
But if you are in Alabama, like, there's no chance. It's not worth dragging the trailer that far. Yeah. I can get one here for $1,000 probably.
Yeah.
So
I still think it'd be super cool to slam one of those and call it a Roadmaster.
Offerman Garage, thank you so much for your super chat. One of my biggest things about buying cars, which this is totally a tangent, is they can't be more than like 2 hours away. And if you message me with a car that's in New York, obviously I can't come get that. That would cost me like $2,000 to leave and go get. So I can't do it, and I can't afford to ship it either. So if it was like the R8, I can afford to ship because it's a car that you ship.
Yeah,
but
I mean, if it's free, or if it's something I've been wanting forever that I'm going to keep for a long time and it's a screaming deal, then
yeah, maybe we can pull it off. But it's kind of impossible to just go get cars. It takes you figure that's a 3-day trip almost. That's a whole lot of life gone, especially when you make daily videos and all of a sudden you can't do anything.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Isuzu Troopers? I feel like that's the one car. That car is a cockroach, a true cockroach. I've never seen one that was taken care of, and I've never seen one die. They literally get beat into the ground. You see like half the body's gone, and that Isuzu Trooper is still on the road. No problem.
What a trooper.
What a troop. It's truly like that car lives up to its name in every way. How do you do the insurance on all the vehicles you own? I have a collector car policy, so it really doesn't. I have 2 different policies. I have one for the dailies and one for the collectors. And the collector one is all set up for like no mileage because those cars don't get driven really ever. Lotus Esprit de Corpse. I think we know who that is. Thanks for your super chat. Jake doesn't own anything that drives in the snow. He owns a Honda Insight that drives in the snow. Every trooper rusted away. Like, there's a comment right there. They did all rust away. And like I said, they're still all on the road. It doesn't matter if they rusted away. Those things are great. And the Hilux, even the ones that are rusted out. Yeah. So, that's a car that doesn't die if you need something bulletproof. Would you rather have a Chrysler Crossfire, a Pontiac Solstice, or both? Well, a Crossfire. It's like the easiest answer ever, I think.
They're so cool.
Yeah. Solstice looks horrible.
I agree. Yeah, the sky looks
good. Is amazing.
I don't like how the sky looks like the C8 or the C7 5 years before that was even a thing.
It was so far ahead of its time.
I did read about the Crossfires that they have something with the security system where it'll die and there's just no way to fix it for less than like $5,000 for a new module.
Yeah, you probably have to put ECUs in it or something.
Yeah, you have to like replace every computer in it so it's in sync.
Nightmare.
And that's what kills a lot of them, but I love how they look.
Yeah, and then the SRT Crossfire obviously is just an AMG. It's awesome. Even better. It's just too bad it didn't get an active wing.
Yeah.
We need to active wing swap an SRT6 Crossfire.
Everything needs active aero.
Active aero. Yep.
I really want to get a spare trunk lid for my Miata and put a wing on it with some servos to make it active.
There you go. Favorite UK car? The Volt Ampera, or the whatever it is.
The Opel Ampera.
Opel Ampera. That's what it is. Yeah, exactly.
If you've ever seen the movie The World's End, as the movie progresses and the aliens take over more and more people, you see more and more Amperas in the background.
Is this real?
Yes, it's real. At the end of the movie, like every car in the background is an Ampera.
Because it's the future and electric cars are here to stay. Is that?
Yeah. It was really good. That movie. If you haven't seen that,
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh,
I don't think I've seen it. Oh man,
my favorite Euro car is a Jaguar XJS Coupe. They're terrible. I love them.
Yep, it is. It is terrible. Fastest sleeper Saab in America. I don't know about that because the problem is there aren't parts. So there are. Obviously, eSaab Parts has all your Saab parts.
The fastest sleeper Saab would be building the Trailblazer one, the 9.8.
Yeah, you could do a 9.7. 9.7. You could do it. It'd have to be a 9.7 X Aero.
Yeah.
And that will run tins with pretty simple mods. You could do a 408 LS. But to be the fastest, I think you'd have to do an LS in like a 9.5. And then you could go pretty quick. But it'd be hard.
It'd be real hard. There's also the Buick version of the Trailblazer that no one remembers.
Yeah, everyone remembers that. I just can't think of what it's called.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know exactly what it is. I just can't think of what it's called. Let's see. Go get an XP8. You know the XP8. I know the XP8. I just can't think of it for a second. XP8. Yeah, that's wait. It's the Saline, right? The one that was the I tried to buy one of these on it was in California Craigslist, right? Because it's the SUV and it's actually it's a Ford Explorer. There was one for sale for like $5,000 and I tried so hard to get it and the seller wouldn't respond. I don't think it would have even done well as like a series because nobody knows what it is. It's literally like what did it say? They were like 300 or something. It's hard to buy a 300 production car and see really anything out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The EXP was impossible to sell to, like, because there's no market, and the XP8 would be the same way. There's no market. So
I did like the EXP though.
Yeah, looked cool. Looked cool. Offerman Garage, the C8's not tuned. It just has a piggyback on it. Because you can't tune a C8 because GM does not want us tuning our cars. Nobody wants us tuning our cars. Like the EPA has basically outlawed modifying cars. It just hasn't come down the pipe because we're still all pushing back as hard as we can. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Buick Rainier. That was what it was called.
That's what, the Rainier, for sure. I saw this. Yep. 94 Ford Lightning. There was one at the shop the other day. I showed it in a video. That beautiful red one. I tried to buy that too.
Yeah.
One of my dreams is having both Lightnings in red, the first gen and the second gen. Andrew Lee, thank you so much for your super chat. Thanks for watching the channel. Do you have any Skyline cars in the USA? We have tons of Skylines. There's plenty for sale right now on local Facebook. The thing is that they're all imported, right? And after you import them for like a reasonable amount of money because you're in the military or you're an importer, then they like triple the cost over here.
A friend of mine just bought one GTR that was a pile of parts, and he's been reassembling it. I might try and do a video with that at some point because I am so indifferent towards those cars.
Right. It's a good car, but like
one thing that I saw is they have a dial that shows you how much torque is going to the front wheels.
Yeah.
And that's just immediately, I was like, that's a cool nerdy quirk. I love it.
And the coolest thing is if you buy a 34, you can pull the fuse and have a rear wheel drive car.
Yeah.
Because it just disables the front wheel drive.
I'm sure they probably make controllers for that too,
They do. Absolutely. I have not sold the Viper truck yet. Brett, thanks for your super chat. The government is banning mods on the old stuff I drive. Yeah, they are. I mean,
that's probably one of the other reasons there's so much car YouTube here in Kansas. We don't have inspections, we don't have emissions or anything like that.
We are the best place to own cars. You can do whatever you want there, and no one will ever mess with you.
Yeah. There's
no sound laws. I don't know why anyone thinks there. And plus, there's only sound laws in like 2 or 3 states in the U.S.
It does get a little sketchy though when you see someone driving around something that was obviously just T-boned.
Right. Yeah. We see trucks all day long.
We're like, that car is a U-shape.
Yeah. Yep. So putting modern tech in classic cars, absolutely. I think everyone's doing that.
Resto mods are my favorite thing.
So nice. I will actually stop this. Take a 300ZX and convert it to a Venturi 400 GT. Well, you could just buy the new 400 though, right? From Nissan, which will be really good.
It looks. Yeah. I love. Honestly, Nissan seems to be on their way back. They dropped the CVT for the new crossover, and the new crossover doesn't look 5 years out of date immediately. Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah, that's.
Their last facelift was pretty disappointing, except for the Maxima.
I forgot that's what I wanted to do, was go to all the old Nissan cars when Nissan was perfection. The 2000 Maxima was like one of the greatest cars ever made in history, I think.
Yeah.
The manual's amazing. It makes too much power. You laugh when you drive it. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a good car. Okay, stop with the turbo, the 350Z comments, or I'll like literally ban you from the channel at this point. You only type it once. What else? Everything, the Murano was incredible. I love that it was because it was just a Maxima and it would go down the highway at 130 mile an hour, no problem. That thing was sweet. And
yeah, Nissan was pretty decent until like 08.
Everything they made back then was amazing. Yeah. So I do want to go work on all the old Nissans again because I love them all. And I owned a lot of those cars too. So.
Yeah. The Ultima was never
really good. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. We did have an Ultima. Zach ended up buying it. Traded me for a 350Z. RX-7 FC.
FC seems interesting. I love the FB that I drove. That was my first time driving a rotary, and I really liked it. It was the fuel injected one, so it was the most powerful FB, and yeah, it had a good amount of power. It was fun.
Yeah, Tyler's the other day.
Yeah, I'm curious what the FC would be like. And of course, the FD everyone loves. I'm probably never get to drive one of those.
Buy Murano cross cab. I mean, I would as a joke, right? I mean,
yeah. Those all have the CVTs, though, don't they? Have the regular auto.
I think that's the refreshed Murano, which is not the good one. Okay. You want the first Murano. The first Murano is incredible. Yeah. Alvin, huge thank you for your super chat. Best 100 horsepower fun car. What is the best? It's always an Miata, right? I mean, but everything that made 100 horsepower with a manual was always really, really fun.
Or like a Miata engine in a Festiva.
Yeah. Or even like base model, like a Focus S, if you want to go late model and have like a nice new car, you could have the worst option Focus, and it's still pretty good with a manual.
I was Daniel has one of those.
Yes, the junk one. You could get it for like $3,000.
Yeah, base Focus with a stick. It's shocking. I went to merge on the highway, and I expected it to be a slog, but it was pretty good.
No, you're like, this is a car. And
the interior's falling apart by 80K miles, though, but no, whatever.
I do like that. 323 GTX.
Yes, I love those.
There's a thing where you can turn off repeated comments.
That's cool.
That's amazing.
Thanks, Google.
Wow. Oh, I don't see how to do it. Too much work.
It's not a button.
I tried one thing.
I tried nothing, and we're all out of ideas.
Yeah.
But 323 GTX, love those.
So
they're also the reason that NA Miatas are so easy to turbo, because all the oil feed ports are still there.
And I had a 323 manual that I rebuilt the engine on. That car was my baby. I had a new clutch from O'Reilly's back in the day. I think it was one of the first things I ever bought when I was like 16 from the O'Reilly's down the street. And we had to buy the engine rebuild kit, and then I had to buy a whole nother engine because the block was like pretty toast. So I had to go through all of that thing. And when I was done, it was so bulletproof, man.
Yeah.
I was 16 and I was like, I'd neutral drop that, or I'd just like back up down the street in reverse as fast as I could and throw it in first and dump the clutch and just sit in that thing, wide open throttle. That car would never die. And it was literally one of my favorite things I ever built.
I really want one of those. I think they've all turned to rust, though.
They have. That car was weirdly in like good shape until I let a friend drive it, and it got destroyed. But it's okay. It's, that's just life. It happens. The insurance money from that getting destroyed bought me my Jaguar XJ6. It was a great deal. Vic, huge thank you for your super chat. Thoughts on the new Bolt EV and EUV?
What's an EUV?
I don't know, but like this EUV thing is all over the entire internet. It's apparently the redone Bolt, and the new Bolt's getting Super Cruise.
Oh.
Yeah, which is going to be, but only in 2023.
The Bolt is the best ugly car ever.
Yeah, it's a terrible looking car, but oh man, do I love it. Oh, it's a huge, it's a prettier crossover version of the Bolt, which seems worse in every way.
Isn't the Bolt already technically a crossover?
Oh no, it looks horrible still.
Like the tracks.
Does that not look? It's like everything failed at this car.
It's better than the Bolt.
Is it?
I think it's a little better.
Objectively?
The Bolt's great. Everything I've read about. Ooh.
This is bad.
Oh, the side profile.
This car's hideous.
GM just can't get the.
Why can't you build an electric car, GM?
They gave up on the Volt.
Oh, look, it's got the Super Cruise steering wheel on it.
That's pretty
But
dope.
it doesn't work.
So GM did this all wrong. The Malibu should have had the Volt's powertrain, and it would have been perfection.
And the Volt is perfection, and they killed it. They were like, well, we built the perfect plug-in hybrid. Let's get rid of it.
They had everything. They had everything right there. They had the Bolt powertrain in the Malibu, ditch the Impala and put it on an Alpha platform and make it rear-wheel drive again. Give us a cheap rear-wheel drive sports sedan. Make the Impala an EV and make a Gen 3 Bolt or Volt based on the Cruise. And they would have had the perfect lineup for whatever the Biden administration is going to throw at us for.
Preach.
Anyway,
so somebody just said the Volt is ugly, which I can't disagree with more. I'm up in the mountains with that thing, and it's just like parked in a parking lot, and I'm sitting there on the front porch of like the cabin, and I'm like, that is one of the greatest looking cars GM has ever built.
First gen Volt looks amazing.
Unbelievable good.
Second gen's worse, but not bad.
But the second gen was such a better car that I would deal with it.
It's such a shame. The only thing wrong with the first gen to me is that it doesn't have CarPlay.
Yep, that's pretty much it. I'd keep mine if I had CarPlay and a backup camera. I had the earliest one. You didn't get a backup camera until 13.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then of course the Bolt. I may go buy a Bolt next week or something because my Bolt's sold. So, yeah, a Pontiac Aztec is amazing. Honestly, it just was way ahead of its time. And my 350Z, I'll answer that comment real quick. I'm probably going to. It needs tires because we did burnouts with legit street cars. Everybody did burnouts and donuts.
Why does it need tires? I don't know. We treat it so well.
So the tires no longer exist. But everybody got to do donuts last week until the tires no longer existed.
I never liked those cars that much, but after drifting it a little bit, I've never drifted before, and nothing has an open diff. But the chassis is so good.
I love my.
I totally get the hype for those cars, but I'd still probably never own one because after helping him swap the engine, and my help was minimal, I was still just like, nah.
it was a lot of work. I might sell it because it's not enough to build the drift car out of it. I mean, we've been having fun and drifting it for a long time, but it's either like cut it all up and build a drift car or just buy another one.
It's a fun toy, but there's not a ton of content potential.
Yeah,
the G35 has been so frustrating to me because it's so close to perfect.
It's a great engine. Great engine. The Bolt looks like a smaller, rounder Aztec. No, it doesn't. Maybe
it looks like a Chevy Trax.
It does look like a Chevy Trax.
I think it's the same chassis, actually.
Yeah. Take Grandpa's Ford pickup out lately. I did. We've driven it a few times since it's been at the warehouse because now it's inside and warm and starts right up like it always does.
That thing's so good.
I love it. Yeah. So there's a Chevy Bolt that's like close to me with all the options that they want 24 for, and I'm really down to buy that.
What color is it though?
White.
Oh, thank heavens.
I'll wrap it black just for you. Day one.
I always thought the white was the best color for EVs. I don't know why.
Yeah, the Bolt's the hideous one. Yeah, exactly. The Volt is perfect. I mean, they went and made the super nice car, and of course they were like, axe it. Too nice. It's not what we build here. Get a tire mounting machine, a tire balancing machine. I use Johnny's all the time. I can mount tires. It's not a problem. We are getting a blizzard here currently. Let me take a quick gander. The snow stopped for a minute. Shut this back off.
That is bright.
It's very bright. Wrong way. There we go. Cool. The 2000 Maxima obviously is great. Why no Lexus or Toyota or Honda in the combo? Well, we just talked about Lexus quite a bit. And of course, it's just Toyota. And Toyota doesn't build anything that's interesting because they don't like to build interesting, right? They even canceled the Land Cruiser this year.
Toyota's weird. Like the Scion's
was amazing.
Scion was really ahead of its time.
Man, Scion was good.
Too ahead. Like I just helped a friend of mine buy a Scion TC, a second generation. Those cars came out as I was graduating high school, I think, and I always thought they looked so cool. I loved the blacked out A-pillars. Every car, Koenigsegg's, the Buicks from the 90s, every car with a blacked out A-pillar I loved. And I thought those were super futuristic looking. Mm-hmm. And so when my buddy's S2000 caught fire and he needed a new car, I found a Scion TC 10th anniversary for sale. I was like, hey, you should go buy this so that I can drive it and see what they're like. I've never been so impressed with such a pedestrian car. It's an attractive two-door liftback, makes okay power, and
it was cheap.
Again, Toyota being weird, you can buy superchargers for it. Like the TRD supercharger from the Corolla goes right on it. and it's just so strange. Their weird half commitment to enthusiast stuff. And it kind of makes sense though, because like you've got the Avalon and the Camry now, the top selling trim levels are the TRD sporty ones that make, to enthusiasts like us, we're like, why?
Because people do want fun Toyotas, I think.
Yeah.
Because they want bulletproof drivetrains, really good cars, and fun. But Toyota every time is like, no, you can just have those. You don't get the fun part.
Yeah.
So when they TRD stuff, it's really cool.
Yeah, they make cars for dads with 1.5 kids that aren't quite ready to give up on life yet.
The 4Runner is pretty good, but it's kind of like
so dated.
It's a little dated, but it's more of like a poser overland thing now. It's more like how much money can I spend to make my truck look off-roady?
They do look good though.
They look amazing.
For something that's been basically unchanged for 10 years, they don't look super dated.
Yeah, Scions are fun to drive with their 90 horsepower. That's exactly why they're amazing. And front wheel drive. It's just, if you have a manual in it, like that XV, you're like, oh, this is good. It's like rewarding for some reason.
Yep.
And you didn't spend any money, That's kind of the thing.
I'm really excited for FRSs. FRSs are getting so cheap. You can buy one for $8,000 these days, like if you look hard.
With engine failure.
And yeah, maybe. But like a tune and a header will get rid of the torque dip, which then by the numbers, the FRS isn't a terrible car, but the torque dip is right where you'd be having fun on the street. So you take care of that, and it's a really fun car.
Somebody said, have you driven an HHR? So I'm going to go reference the list.
I really like the HHR. Even the base models are very competent cars. I drove an automatic with the leather seats and the Pioneer system from here to Kansas City, expecting it to be like a garbage economy car. And it was an economy car, but honestly, it rode nice. It drove nice. The Pioneer system was banging.
Those Pioneer systems were all good.
I was like, man, did someone put a 10-inch sub back there? And I went looking for it. And I was like, no, it's just a little Pioneer thing.
I think I've driven the HHR, but it's not in the driven list, even though the driven list hasn't been updated in a long time.
Yeah.
I put it in chat if you guys are bored.
I haven't driven an HHR SS though.
Somebody said to buy a Yaris, which is also one of the worst cars I've ever driven. I hate the Yaris. It's easily as bad as the Nissan Versa. Like literally one of the worst. Now people are going to get in here and say the Yaris GR is incredible. But that doesn't make any sense. They changed the Yaris name from economy car to some kind of performance monster.
Which Yaris though? Because the
early one, the 2000.
Okay, because the Yaris lately has been a Mazda 2.
Oh well, the old Yaris was like I couldn't have been more unhappy than driving that car. It was so bad. Fun fact: the Ford Festiva became the Ford Festiva was a Mazda like 121 or something like that. And then we stopped getting it here, and Mazda kept making it. And eventually it became the Mazda 2, which we got here as the Yaris. Yeah. So the Toyota Yaris is like a 4th gen Ford Festiva. You can draw a direct line. It's the weirdest. Platform sharing is weird. It is weird. No one's completed a long-term test on magnetic effects for gas consumption.
What are you talking, like the magnets that you put around
your fuel rail? They definitely can do nothing. Definitely nothing. That's
Oh yeah, but the ionic polarization of the fuel leads to better spray patterns.
LS swap your 350Z. Nah.
Shogun.
Nah. Shogun, like the light?
No.
Talk about the high-end systems Shogun?
No, like putting a Taurus SHO engine in the back of a Festiva.
Ah. Okay. There's multiple meanings to that.
Yeah. Jay Leno has 2 of them.
Ah.
What's the other? There's a racing team called Charnel House up in Chicago that did a Yamaha V8 SHO engine in the back of a Geo Metro, and they raced for like 5 years with that thing. Eventually, it got twin turbos and Cobra brakes and a full Porsche replica body kit, and it was absolute hilarity. I think they recently sold it though, sadly.
Have you driven a GTO? Yes. I posted the list. It should be in there. We'll just Control F that list real quick. GTO. Yep, that's in there. I've definitely driven it. Lamborghini had one. And I've driven lots of others. Love the i8, but it has so many problems. Do you ever mess with hybrids like the i8? I have done videos about my mom's Camry hybrid. Obviously, I've done my Chevy Volt many times, which is the exact same as that. and I love the i8 to death. I would buy one in a heartbeat any day of the week.
I really want to drive. A friend of mine keeps offering to drive his i3 up here for me to drive.
Oh,
with a range extender.
You could probably buy an i3 for less money than he can drive it here. They're so cheap.
Yeah, I like them. I think
Stellantis.
They're also ugly, but
consult a doctor if you've been taking Stellantis for more than 4 hours or whatever.
Yeah. I love the i3's interior though.
I would never swap an i8. It's perfect as is. Have you driven an S2000? I have. It's not in the thing, but I have. Maybe it's in the thing.
I was very underwhelmed by the AP. I've only driven AP ones, but I was very underwhelmed.
It was not fun. I don't know why people think that's better than a Miata. It's absolutely not. The i8 is perfect. It doesn't matter if it looks like you want to drive a supercar, but without the performance, just go drive one and you're like, oh, what a good car.
Yeah.
You made a great car, BMW.
People complain that it looks like a supercar, but doesn't perform like one.
But it's pretty quick.
It's quick enough.
Yeah.
And it looks like a supercar, which is great.
And like, I don't want one that's been destroyed. So I'm not buying that other one. Leaves, thank you so much for your super chat. Leafs, we have talked about Leafs at length here. I want to buy one and build it. It's very simple. You simply travel to Japan and you buy all the Nismo parts you cannot buy in the US, ship them here, and then put them on your Leaf. But the thing is, it's just a tune. It's like a pedal remap and a body kit. And then you have a Leaf Nismo, which would be really, really cool. James, thank you so much for your super chat.
I love the Leaf, especially the new one. I'm just
disappointed. The new one's pretty good.
Disappointed they don't have active cooling on the battery pack.
Yeah, it's a
bit of a miss.
Yeah,
unfortunately. I think they'll be fine. I mean, as near as I can tell, the only thing that really affects is your range a little bit and probably battery longevity. But if you're going to lease one, who cares? Good car.
Yeah, I wouldn't even lease one though, because you can find first gens for like $4,000.
Yeah, but second gen is one of the best looking things that Nissan makes right now.
That's true. It does look good. How do you send a super chat? You just click the dollar thing at the bottom. Would you do a crazy rebuild like Tavares's McLaren? I have a crazy rebuild that I'd like to do. You guys can't see this. Only Jake can see this. This is top secret. We're going to take a gander at this crazy rebuild here. Oh, come on. I'm not logged in. What is this? We're almost there. Watch list. I know it ended, but I know who has it, and I can go buy it still. And I think I can get it for $10,000.
I love the description.
Oh, yeah, the engine's out of it.
Yeah.
I like the engine's in pieces.
I love the description. Bad engine.
Mm-hmm. It's sort of a supercar, but it's not good.
I hate every part of this.
Yeah, what a great build. It's impossible. Nobody's ever done anything.
What an awful version of a great car.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And it's got a V12 in it.
Elliot would love it.
Cummins Miata, that's it. You guys figured it out. All right, rebuild. I've already done that.
I always wanted to get an exotic with a blown up engine and put like an Iron Duke or something in it. Some absolutely garbage engine just to make it move.
LFX Miata. That would be cool. GM knows how to build engines.
Isn't one of our... Oh, LFX is the V6, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I would rather do the Mazda 3-liter V6.
Probably. Somebody said, why are the BMW comments not being answered? There's nothing to say. I mean, people are just like hating on the BMW existing so much in the comments. But I obviously am going to give it away. We'll do another live stream. I'm basically going to live stream every day this week because we can't get in the shop at all. It's unbelievably cold. We worked all night last night, and eventually we just like ran out of heat. We can't keep up. It's too cold.
Bill, what would you say if I said I like your TR8?
The TR8, the old Triumph. Much too old for me to want to work on.
Every time Jake says Mazda, take a drink.
Jake's a big Mazda fan. That's for sure.
Listen, I like European stuff. That's why I love the Miatas so much. Is because the NA and NB were European cars, which I love, but with reliable Japanese everything.
There you go.
I actually don't like the NC that much because it doesn't look European.
LS swap a Hyundai Coupe. Nah.
Like a Gen Coupe?
I'd rather just have the Hyundai.
Yeah,
I actually drove one of those all the way to Oklahoma and back once, like 6 to 8 hours on the road. I liked it.
The Gen Coupe is a great car that is... It's the main strike against it is that everything else in its class is better.
That is probably true.
If you can get a deal on one, it's a good car. They're very easy to get sideways. They all have. You got to get the track package though, the competition pack with the LSD.
I do think I slid that thing around once, and it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
V6 with the competition pack is just one of the easiest cars to go sideways around every corner in.
LS swap Carmen Gia. I don't think that fits. I think that's not a real suggestion. You can pretty much get an LS and everything, but yeah, I don't think you can get it in that.
I think what you mean Subaru swap.
Plus, you'd ruin it. I don't know.
A naturally aspirated Subaru engine would be the right fit for one of those.
Yeah, they're small.
You don't want stupid power in a Carmen Gia. They're made of tinfoil.
Are you and Josh ever going to finish up the Healy? Josh has a lot of other projects that got in front of the Healy, but it's back in the garage right now. But the thing is, the Healy came down to all the stuff that is impossible to show. He's doing like the body work right now, and a lot of that stuff has to get like sent out. Stuff. We got the drivetrain in. Drivetrain's in. He got the interior done. That thing's really cool. So
I love those.
We were talking about sliding the Gen Coupe around with the comp pack, the old Genesis Coupe. Anything can fit. Exoset build, that is on my list as a to-do thing. I love go-karts are my favorite cars in reality because first you build them all yourself. There's the ice machine. It's in there making ice. It sounded like
someone wrecked outside.
It was a ghost.
I was like, insurance money?
I'm about to get paid. So the Exoset's one of my all-time favorites because it's the cheap way. There's our built versus bought. Aerial Atom with the Honda in it, or an Exoset with Miata and a turbo.
The Exoset.
Always the Exoset. Yeah. Why would you buy an Aerial Atom? They're $70,000. And why would you ever want a V8 Atom? I don't understand that. I would always want a turbo 4-cylinder because that's entertaining, and a V8's just not that entertaining in it.
Yeah, V8 Exosets always feel like they're missing the mark.
Yeah, or Atoms.
Or Atoms.
Yeah.
Both.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. What a car. But, man, always Exoset Miata. And I was talking to Exoset. We can put something together pretty quick. I just need to buy another Miata with a turbo.
That's easy.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so easy to turbo. I mean, just especially when there's no body work around the engine.
I don't want to spend any money, right? Because I want this. It would be like a budget Exoset build. So I want to spend $4,000 on an NA Miata that already has the Flying Miata turbo kit, and then just slap it in the Exoset and have the perfect car instantly done for very little money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Growing up with a grandpa who was a structural engineer, I absolutely hate all the go-karts that people are making because none of the structure is ever done right.
I love it. I'm
like, you can't have bins in the middle of your rolled bar. What are you doing? None of this is track legal. You've ruined it.
Yeah, but nobody's going to the track with them in reality.
Yeah,
You're just driving around, enjoying life in your go-kart. Keegan, thank you so much for your super chat. Do an AE86 initial D build. The old AE86 is kind of hard to get here. Yeah, that's what that comes down to.
I did one of those.
You did?
Where's my Mustang?
Oh, okay. What about the Opel GT? I love the Opel GT. That's a cool car. Carmen Gia is not. It just doesn't really connect to.
I love the Carmen Gia.
Jake thinks every car is going to the track one day. That's what Elliot had to say. But in reality, like no cars go to the track anymore because they're all closed.
True. I mean, there was that one guy that died after making a Miata kart and like none of the he hit something at 30 miles an hour and it just went.
Yeah, man, you got to build it right.
Turns out the cage was made out of like exhaust pipe.
Ooh, that's a mistake.
Yeah, big, not good.
Amphicar. I love amphibious cars. Love them. Anyway, TL Type S have the worst transmissions. You got to get the TL Type S with the manual. They do exist, I think. Like a handful of them.
I drove not a Type S, but a regular one. With the manual, you also get Brembo brakes and an LSD, and the torque steer is absolute hilarity. Excellent cars. Interiors have aged very well. Very tough to find, but if you can find one, you won't regret picking it up.
So we need another real built versus bought comparison. Huracan or big turbo Civic Type R?
Not the second one.
What? I'm surprised you didn't pick a Honda over a Lamborghini. Yes.
The Initial D build.
Initial D Mustang.
I got a $800 V6 automatic Fox body, swapped a 5-speed into it, and then rattle can painted it the Panda livery and daily drove it for a while. until I hurt my foot and couldn't push down the cable clutch anymore.
That clutch in all Fox bodies is like
So
really,
heavy.
really heavy. One of the
Yeah.
worst clutches there is.
It's not even like a cable clutch thing because my Sentra SER had a cable clutch and like you could do that with your pinky almost.
Yep. There's so many good. The Viper's clutch is amazing. Like it's one of the easiest clutches in the world. It's so weird. Cadillac V Blackwing. I don't know. It still doesn't exist. So we're not talking about anything. It's a concept. You're blowing up.
I am.
What mods can I do to an 07 Honda Accord EX to go faster? Don't.
EX is
Just drive that
Is
car.
it a V6 or an auto or what?
Yeah, I assume they're all V6s pretty much at that point.
Know.
Like they still had the 4-cylinder, but it seemed like everyone started buying the big engine.
The V6s are good though.
Basically, every comment now just says LS swap a Subaru or LS swap
Subaru?
LS swap everything.
LS swap Subaru.
I think I've already LS swapped everything we need to LS swap.
LS swapping is just kind of played out at this point.
It's not because it's the greatest engine ever, but at the same time, like
Well, yeah, I didn't say it was bad. I said it's played out. It's objectively the right way to do it, which is why it's boring.
Elliot, John Ross, would you ever run for city council? No, I don't like cities that much. I don't know.
LS swap Jake.
Jake's Buick from Hoovie. Nope, probably not. 3800 is very, very good. Electric motor swaps. That's what we should really talk about here. So everybody has a kit coming out, even GM, to LS swap everything you want, to EV swap everything you want, right? So Lingenfelter is going to be one of like training performance centers for these new EV kits. That's a pretty cool idea. And I really think in the future, I mean, obviously a lot of people have been EV swapping everything. I think we'll be EV swapping literally everything there is because there's no way a Tesla conversion is not better than an LS or any engine.
Yeah, everyone's been telling me to K-swap the Insight, which is, first of all, such a pain in those cars.
It's super expensive.
Nothing about those is easy to swap. But what I've been wanting to do is if the engine goes out someday, I want to keep that car limping along long enough to EV swap it.
Yep.
And just make it a full electric car because there's already room for a battery pack in the back, room for more batteries where the fuel tank is, room for batteries under the hood. I looked into following along with what Rich Rebuilds did on his cheap mini swap, but unfortunately, unless you live in an area where parts like that are common, it's pretty tough to get it done as cheap as he did.
Oh, parts aren't that bad here.
But Volt battery packs are definitely the way to go.
Yes, the Volt is everything. The
those
Volt
are
is like the go-to swap right now. If you can't, because the GM EV kit's going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you can buy wrecked Volts for, I don't know, $3-4 grand all day.
And they're modular. You can put the packs just about anywhere. I don't think they have I think they balance themselves. You just need a charge controller.
Yeah, it has leads going to like every set of cells or something in the Volt.
Yeah, they're really well engineered.
Yeah.
So you can just throw those everywhere. Motor controller, charge controller, away you go.
Somebody said Buick going all EV by 2023. I would say that's a yes because GM's going to go all EV, and obviously everyone's going to go all EV. Like, there's not really a question anymore.
I don't know if Buick as a brand is going to exist beyond that.
Yeah, because Cadillac's doing it first. Cadillac's going all EV immediately.
Yeah, basically. I think Buick's probably going to end up going China only when everything becomes EV.
Probably, because it could be pretty fancy over there. Its name got kind of ruined here, as now it's like the teenager beater car, you know?
Yeah.
Instead of the like fancy car that it used to be.
Especially since GMC needs to stop making stuff that's not trucks.
Yeah, GMC should get out of all that.
The GMC crossovers have no reason to exist.
Yep. Just let Chevy have them all.
Yeah. Chevy and Cadillac don't need two brands that are sitting weirdly in between them.
Yeah. And Pontiac should have stayed.
Yeah.
That's right. Pontiac and Saturn. Those were the kings of being able to do weird things.
Yeah. It's a real shame what happened to Saturn in the early 2000s.
Yeah, Saturn was amazing too.
The 90s SLs were just so good.
The comments were still trashing Scion, but Saturn was the same thing. It was amazing. They're both budget cars that did everything you wanted and were fun to drive, and sometimes they made really fun stuff like all the red lines. And they were both really, really good brands that didn't deserve to die. So Saturn was great. Stradman and Burlock are on stereo. They're over there streaming. That's cool. V12 twin turbo swapped Crown Vic. That sounds legit.
Oh, like a Triton V10 from the trucks with the turbo.
It might fit.
Probably.
It might fit. You might have to cut the whole front end out of it. But man.
People have stuffed them in a Fox bodies. Surely you can fit them in a Crown Vic.
All right.
Because it's not an overhead cam.
It's
so
not,
it's not as wide.
It's also like not a good engine either. It doesn't. It's just a torque monster.
Sounds good though.
Yeah. It's kind of like all the V10s that aren't small. Wow, people are really hating on Saturn, but the thing is, they're wrong. Saturn was amazing. The SL1 was amazing. No, it didn't use any fuel. The SL2 was a fine version of it.
Their manufacturing techniques were also revolutionary.
Yeah,
like they did as much for like the automotive industry as a whole as freaking Tesla.
Saturn changed the game.
Yeah,
composite panels and all that stuff. Like they were the ones that really did it.
And then Daddy GM got jealous and started ranting because they were almost an autonomous thing. They were basically their own automaker, starting from scratch. And they managed to produce stuff within 5 years.
That was
with minimal like recalls or issues back in the early 90s. They didn't start having problems until the 1.9 dual overhead cam engines did have some issues with the block because they used lost foam casting, and sometimes that could lead to weak points. So literally they would just take a styrofoam engine block, bury it in sand, and then pour metal in, which would melt the foam away. And then, so if you look at an old 90s Saturn, it looks like a metal chunk of styrofoam because it still has that texture. It's really cool.
It is cool. They look great. But honestly, like everyone sandcasts everything.
Yeah.
They just figured they could do it faster with the styrofoam molds, and it didn't. It worked out okay.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the 1.9 dual overhead cam still makes like 120 horse, 130 horse, which is really, really good for its day, and they rev like none other. I got my wife one of those for her birthday when we were first started dating. I got it for free. It needed like an engine mount and a valve cover gasket and some battery and some coils or something.
So all the usual stuff.
Yeah. The motor mount broke and like punched a hole through the valve cover.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was impressive. I had to like screw the studs out and replace all of it, but excellent car.
Also, Vic brought up the Saturn Vue, and I drove the Saturn Vue Redline once, and my mind was blown at how fast that thing was.
Those had Honda engines.
Yes, they were good. I was like, wow, why is this fast? It shouldn't have been.
300 horse Honda J32, 35?
Saturn. Oh, man.
I mean, I would argue those are some of the worst Saturns because they were the least Saturn at that point.
They were
badge engineering.
But what's funny is they don't make any of them, so it's probably exceedingly rare. I would say if you have like a Saturn Vue Redline Gen 2, you have what's almost a unicorn.
Yeah.
There can't be more than a few thousand. So that's cool.
I did like the what was it? The Ion that had the suicide doors. Those were kind of neat.
Loved it. Just like the Veloster.
And the center gauge clusters.
Why did you buy a Power Stroke over a Duramax or a Cummins? Because the Duramax is like the greatest diesel drivetrain ever made, and GM doesn't know how to build a truck anymore. That's what happened there. That thing is a piece of junk. It's like literally has not changed in 10 years solid. They have not done a refresh of that truck. They like did this little incremental thing, and it's just not good. It's just not good, and it's probably the worst truck you can buy as far as interior and all the other capabilities. Like it's just, come on.
I'd have a really hard time choosing between the current gen Dodge and the Fords.
Yeah, the Dodges and the Fords are unbelievable. Unbelievably good trucks. Yeah.
The new F-150s look absolutely stunning from the outside.
The new F-150 with the hybrid generator and all that stuff too. They can run a house basically. And you can
get two-tone paint.
How does Ford just knock it out of the park? And then Dodge built the best interior that's ever been done.
Yeah. I think I'd go Ford just because I was playing around the configurator and you can make some really cool looking F-150s.
Yep, sure can.
Dark blue paint with like a gold bottom half trim just looks stunning. I remember when Dodge used to have that on their cars in the mid-2010s.
Yep. So, oh yeah, all the two-tone, the Longhorns that were early. And all,
I love it.
Oh yeah.
Love two-tone.
Timothy, thank you so much for your super chat. Hope you had a good day at work. We are not out doing donuts in the snow because it is thick with 2 C's outside. Thick. The base F1, the outside of the F-150 looks like the last gen, but the interior is unbelievable. Mercedes S-Class quality levels. They just haven't wrapped everything in leather yet. And yes, I do know FCA killed off SRT's division. We're probably going to make a quick video with the Viper truck. I am going to the half mile in Independence for airstrip attack. Brian and I are taking the Huracan and the Porsche again. It'll be great. Great weekend. Great fun.
I should take my insight, see if it'll hit 60.
Nobody's blocked. This David guy is not blocked, and the other guy that asked if they were blocked, none of them are blocked. Never liked Ford. That's cool.
I used to have a lot of brand loyalties, and then I drove more cars, and
They're all gone.
Everyone makes good stuff. Everyone makes bad stuff.
That's it. All cars are good now. I mean, GM doesn't know how to build an interior, but the cars are great. There's nothing wrong with them. So, yeah, all cars are very good, and there's no reason to hate on Ford or Chevy or Dodge. They're all just amazing.
Yeah.
Why are they so good? I do not have gas to the shop yet. Hopefully tomorrow or the next day, and then maybe we can get over there. Did you guys have the Ford Capri in the US? We did, especially the 80s, 90s one. That was a lot of people had those, I think. Or is it the earlier one?
I don't.
It might not be the refreshed one. It was, but the Ford Capri was here. The half mile event is in Independence, Kansas. So I'm just gonna, I'm glad this guy gets auto blocked though. This Colbert guy, that's pretty cool. YouTube's really cool about that. The Huracan was for sale and is now not for sale. Brian just got a new toy. I probably shouldn't talk about the new toy. It's insane. Insane. 2021, made by BMW. Very, very, very fast. So that's, if you're going to buy a car, he buys cars right. It's an enthusiast car all the way.
M3 CS?
Nope. It replaces another BMW that he has.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Now you know. I won't ruin it. That way he can surprise everybody. It's sick.
I do have a friend who just got an M2 CS.
That's a cool car.
Unfortunately, it's black on black on black on black.
I do think BMW is kind of the go-to. Like, while we're all hating on BMW, if you're an enthusiast, it's where you want to be.
Yeah.
I don't know anything better to mod because they make big power, and they're cheap. And
he had like 4 E46 ZHPs.
Yep.
And then he had a bunch of trouble with one of them, and he was just kind of like, man, I'm just done with BMWs. And he bought a C5 Corvette, and he was like, oh, I'm going to buy a C8. And he had a pre-order in for a C8. And then he was like, nope, M2 CS. Also, I bought an X5M for my wife.
BMW's
I'm like, oh, okay, just dropped 100 G's on cars, I guess.
Yeah, BMW is the king of just great cars that depreciate to nothing, and we can buy as enthusiasts that are still fun to drive and easy to mod.
Yeah, less so these days.
I don't know where else you would go.
The M2,
check this out. This guy.
The M2 CS and the M3 CS are kind of the last.
I can ban that guy.
Old school BMWs.
There we go. We actually.
They've always had the market absolutely cornered on sports sedans, like on-road sporty SUVs. I mean SUVs, not sedans.
Sweet. What do you think about Kmart? From Bill. Well, Kmart doesn't exist anymore, right? They went bankrupt.
Do we even have one?
These are our thoughts on Kmart. They went bankrupt because they didn't change, but they used to have great dial-up internet. Yeah, Blue Light from Kmart. You didn't have Blue Light?
Oh.
It was ad-supported dial-up internet, and it was really, really, really cool.
Huh. We had SBC Global.
We had SBC Global.
Which then got bought by AT&T.
All right.
My dad still has one of their email addresses.
Throwback.
He refuses to get rid of it.
Rudy, thank you so much for your super chat. Bill, thank you so much for your super chat. Your shop might be okay. I can't read that. I love Nissans. You can't hate any car brand or really anything other than like a few bad engines. People are always asking us like, what do you think about Audis? Well,
they are cars.
They're cars. Like that's not a question. Like, what do you think? And then people say, what about this specific engine? And if you don't know about problems with that engine specifically, like then there are no problems with that engine. Because you know the nightmare engines. It's super easy to know the nightmares. But all the rest of the engines are good. So there's no question about them. Yeah. You just buy the car and deal with problems when they arise. Because every car will break. Every car will break. Grid Life at Heartland? That sounds really fun. I didn't know Grid Life was coming here. I should. How jealous am I of Hoobie's hangar? Not at all. Been there many times. I was there when it was being built. Is it Hoobie's? I don't know. Naveed, thank you so much for your super chat. John, Mark, thank you so much for your super chat. Why'd you move from DeWalt to Milwaukee? I don't know. This is a very bot question because you just buy the best one. So Milwaukee is the best one, and then DeWalt's the one that I guess you could build, except you can't.
Milwaukee has the most You get the most stuff for your batteries because what you're buying is the battery and
System.
system.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
and Milwaukee just has the most stuff.
Here's the thing: the DeWalt batteries they have a really bad interlocking system too, because the Milwaukee one you pinch, right, and the DeWalt one you grab like this.
Yeah,
and the DeWalt one you can't get the batteries off after you get any dirt in them. The Milwaukee ones, I literally was grinding concrete with my grinder yesterday, destroying it, no problems, right? And the DeWalt, we were out there punching holes in the concrete with the DeWalt a few minutes later, and every time I had to change batteries, it was a nightmare.
Yeah,
and they build really cheap feeling hardware. It's just bad.
And I don't think any brand makes a half-inch impact that'll do what the Milwaukee half-inch
Not
impact
even.
does.
And then Milwaukee's like, ha, you thought our half-inch was something, and they also build a 3/4 and a 1, and the one's like 2,000 foot-pounds.
Yeah, and it's like huge.
Oh, it has handles. It has
Yeah.
literal handles on it.
Which is amazing.
Did Daniel Cross ever claim his $1 car? Aaron, thank you so much for your super chat. He did actually end up emailing me, and he lives in the UK. And of course, I'm not going to ship that car. You do have to come get it when we give it away. He said, just give it away to someone else. So we are going to do another giveaway. It'll be sometime this week. Have you ever tried to buy tires at Walmart? On a lot of cheap cars, I always buy tires at Walmart. They're awesome.
My BMW has Walmart tires, and honestly, I love them.
Yeah.
They grip okay, and they're quiet. Like, tires have all gotten decent these
They're all
days.
really good, even the cheap junk.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you need performance tires, you buy Michelin's. Goodyear's as a second. And have you ever thought about buying a concrete mixer just to have? We have one. It's the engine-powered one, the 5-horse engine-powered concrete mixer. It's Dad's, but I mean, if we need a concrete mixer, I got you covered. It gets used once every 3 years. Hoovie's hanger, he's not leasing it. It's not actually his, just like you said. He just stores cars there. What do you think about the Chevy Cruze Eco manual? No.
What? Really?
No.
I like them. The Eco's got the torque.
No. Yes, it's a Chevy Volt, but no.
No, the Eco's a gas engine.
No, I know, but the Chevy Volt is a Cruze.
Oh, yeah.
They're the same platform. Yeah, exactly.
I always like those. The Diesel's the really cool one, though.
That would be cool. That would be cool. I just don't like the Cruze in general.
I worked at a Chevy dealership when the new generation Cruze was coming out, and a lot of the old ones got traded in, and I got to drive all of those. It was a very interesting time to work at a Chevy dealership because that's when they were refreshing everything. Yeah,
that is cool. What's the fate of the new Mustang platform? It's just going to evolve, unless you're talking about the Mach-E. I mean, the S550 will evolve to what? I think I heard they were going to call it the 650, but I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah, it'll just be another Mustang.
The S550 is so good.
It's so good. Maybe one of the best cars Ford makes. There's no doubt. The IRS, just driving it, it's just great. I love that car. I've always wanted one.
I'm super excited for an electric version of the Mustang Coupe.
Yeah, that'll be cool. And then the Mach-E, of course, seems pretty good.
Yeah.
People seem happy with it.
I really want to drive the new e-tron GT because I drove the e-tron when that first came out and you had it.
Yep.
And I was like, man, this drives like amazing. And it's a crossover.
Almost a sports car.
I can't wait until they make a car version of this. And then they did, and it looks amazing. And it continues to be one of the best interiors in an EV, in my opinion, because dials and buttons instead of everything being a touchscreen.
It's really good. I love that thing to death. And it's full of touchscreens, which is pretty cool.
It's touchscreens, but also buttons.
Yeah, exactly. And they're all tactile. When you push the touchscreens, they click back.
And that was the best thing about the e-tron crossover is that getting in and driving it, you would never know it's electric.
So, Matthew, we were just talking about the Chevy electric crate engine quite a bit, and the dealers and everything you're going to be able to buy them from. So we kind of talked about that already. Probably won't get back into it, but it's cool, and I think everything will be that eventually.
I'm really excited to see where that all goes.
Yeah, definitely excited. There was one. Oh, TX2K bound. Yeah, we're going to book the Airbnb here. We were going to do it like 2 days ago, but I'll probably be at 2K. I love 2K to death, even though we don't have anything that can compete anymore. You have to have, like, at this point, you need 1,800 horsepower to qualify, which is fine.
The bar just keeps going up.
Yeah, it's crazy. Honestly, like next year, you'll need 2,000 horsepower just to make qualifying rounds because all the big end is like 3,500 horsepower. So, you know, that's bought and done properly.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can do that because you can't buy the things you need to go that fast. And only Underground can do it because they have Proline building billet engines. And you're not allowed to buy the billet engine because Underground owns it exclusively.
Yeah.
Or the tuning. So you buy an underground car. They build you a Proline engine, and John Reed tunes it, and you have the greatest car ever built. It just costs $500,000 and is faster than every other thing on the planet. Faster than all the Bugattis, faster than everything. Jet engine swap? I don't think so. I don't. It's a weird thing. You have to only be a jet engine guy to do jet engine swaps, I think. It's really tough. So that's a pretty special thing. Ever thought about selling the Rolls Royce? That is the one car I will not sell. So, nah. The Q was BA. The Q doesn't exist, though.
Q.
Yeah, the Cadillac Q, right? Isn't that? I don't know.
Oh.
Was it the View? The Q is the entertainment system.
Yeah, Q is the...
View. Oh, the View. Yeah, the View was cool. We talked about the View a lot. Yes, we do know about the Mach-E that does drift. That Mach-E is not quite a Mach-E anymore. It has like double the batteries and then quad motor and all those radiators cooling the batteries.
I really want to drive a Mach-E. I like it. Looks cool.
The Viper truck is not sold. Rolls-Royce hybrid. What we should do is EV swap an old Rolls-Royce, because the old Rolls-Royce is like the worst car ever made. People are always asking me like my opinion, and I've been through this. Every single inch of that car, every nut and bolt. And I would never recommend that to anyone. I wouldn't wish that on anyone ever. It's one of the worst piece of junk cars ever made in history.
That's what EV swaps are going to be absolutely amazing for, is the 80s, like 80s Malise stuff that made 170 horsepower out of a 400 cubic inch engine. And anything with Lucas Electrics in it.
All needs to go in the trash.
XJ6s and stuff
Yes.
with an EV powertrain, that's the perfect car. Put some retro, some vintage air in there, retro sound with nice speakers and stuff.
That's it.
Perfect car.
Yeah, so I really do need another old Rolls Royce. And then this time, instead of being dumb, we'll start with a Sawzall and we'll put everything in the trash the first day.
Yeah.
Like all the brakes, all the suspension, just trash can it all. And then put an EV in it and it'd be perfect.
Yeah. If anyone is selling a coupe Jaguar XJS, hit me up.
Jake needs it.
Really need
He
it.
always needs another Jag, another V12 broken Jag.
Yeah, it needs to be a V12. I want to do a V12 right. But I don't want to pay for it because I'm poor.
Ever thought about what Tom Cruise is up to right now? Well,
every day.
Did you go to Tom Cruise's house with us? I don't think Elliot was there. You were there.
I was.
Oh, did you?
I was in the area, but
you didn't go up the mountain with us to it. Okay.
Yeah,
well, you've been to Tom Cruise's house. That was cool. Dennis, thank you so much for your super chat. That was a lot of fun. Good old Tom Cruise's driveway is like 3 miles long, 2 miles long. I don't know. We were trying to drive as fast as we could because it's like it's literally a racetrack. Pretty cool. Vote yes on the Rolls EV. Same.
Vote yes on Proposition Rolls EV.
That's right. We'll try to come to El Toro, Rudy. We'll see. I love that place. It's a good restaurant. It's right over by that diesel shop we have to go to because the diesel breaks every year on the way down there. Did your buddy put the active exhaust on? Who you put the exhaust on? Did you? I didn't drive it, but I mean, I've definitely driven S550s.
Yeah.
And I was in the car.
They're very good cars.
There's not.
The EcoBoost is pretty good too.
Yeah, I don't need to drive it.
I wish it was. I wish the EcoBoost wasn't called a Mustang. It would be hailed as one of the best sports sedans of our time if it was called anything else.
You probably got a lot taken away from it for being another four-cylinder Mustang, which is unfortunate because Ford's put four-cylinder turbos in Mustangs many times, and those were really good too. But those got a lot of hate, and weirdly, every time they do it, it gets a lot of hate when it shouldn't because it's such a good car. Ford knows what they're doing. They do know what they're doing. He's looking to sell. I don't know what it is. The only thing that would make a Bentley reliable EV. That's true. We should, or a Continental EV swap, because that's a much better car
with the suicide doors.
Well, just one of the new, like a 2002, 2003 Continental, because those are the cheap ones, like $10,000.
The front wheel ones.
Yeah. So, no. Bentley Continental.
Oh,
we're talking about Bentleys. Yeah, I was like, what do you? The really cheap Bentley, the $10,000 ones that are all broken and like the worst car you could ever work on.
Yeah.
That needs EV swap.
Like Tavares's Russian one.
Yes.
Yeah, those are so cool. There's one that's popping up for sale every now and then for $20K around here.
I know the one on 26s.
It's bad. I see it at Quick Trip every now and then, so it must run. But
it's not worth 20. It's worth 10 grand.
It can't be happy.
Yeah. Hoovy would cut you a deal on the Bentley Turbo R. He would. But he's got so much in it now that I feel bad.
Hey, all that hard work he did?
Still junk, but man, it's a bad car.
Looks cool though.
Looks great.
Looks so good.
Sounds cool too. Got pigeons under the hood.
You won a 1978 International Scout for free? I mean, yeah.
Sure.
So those are so much better looking than the Bronco.
It'd be cool to have that in the garage anyway.
That's my hot take for today.
I mean, email me if you're serious.
International Scout look better than Bronco.
If it involves come to Florida and fix my car and then you can have the International Scout, the answer is no, for sure. I get a lot of emails like that. Can you travel to this other state with none of your tools and none of your shop and fix this car, and then I will give you this car that's worth $400? No. No, the answer is no. Hard no. Will there be a pinball machine in the shop? Absolutely. We are buying a pinball machine. JJ, shoot me an email. It's in the channel about.
From Arizona?
I'll come to Arizona. I need to come down there anyway.
Rust free?
There you go. Kirkham Cobras are BA. That's probably true. I fully believe that. It's probably better than a Factory 5 Cobra. Lincoln for. I just had that Lincoln Continental, didn't I? Yeah, 4-valve Continental. Not too bad. It was fine. It's exactly what it was. It was not too bad, and it was fine.
Yeah. It's interesting driving one of those back to back with a Grand Marquis.
Yeah.
You can tell how much more solid the unibody is than the body on frame. Jake needs a haircut. Yes, I do.
I do too. That's why I put a hat on.
I never leave my house these days, so like.
The girl that cuts my hair that knows it like super, super well just like fell off the map. Literally vanished. And she works at a salon, but I don't know what happened. I think there was like, she said she might move to Mexico and then just stopped responding to me and everyone. She cut Tyler's hair and everyone's and then just bounced. What kind of donk would you build if you had to build it? Well,
I mean, a donk is a very specific.
Isn't this something that you should buy because it's such a bad investment in every way?
Yeah.
I want to build a donk.
I do. Yeah.
Like that would be super cool because it's fun. And you get to wrap it in M&Ms or Monster. I guess I could wrap one in Monster, which would be kind of fun.
I would rather do a bubble personally, but
a what?
A bubble?
A bubble.
Yeah, the 91 to 96 Caprice.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But I think you want to do it in a box Chevy to do it right.
Yeah,
Gotta have the box Chevy. That way you can have like the wrap integration with donks.
My absolute favorite thing is the ones in Florida that run 10-second quarters.
That's crazy. All those guys going fast on donks, like that's got to be scary to be inside.
Yeah, I love it so much.
Can you imagine like if one of those 24-inch wheels breaks, like that car could flip end over end?
Those wheels probably cost more than most of the cars.
That's right. Oh man. Jan Inge, thank you so much for your super chat. Love to see you work on an Audi A6 25 TDI V6 from 2000 to 04 with the motor code AKE.
Yeah, that's a B5, isn't it? That's the worst era of VW stuff.
I had a B5 S4 and it was amazing.
We had a B5.
I mean, the timing chains failed like they always do. Yeah, I mean,
we had a B5 Passat TDI and it was actually an okay car.
Yeah.
Except for half shafts all the time.
How about a Hummer EV swap? That would be better than the new one. I don't think you can actually do better than the new one.
Yeah, no.
GM knocked that thing so far out of the park that no one will ever touch it.
There's no way to build what the new one is, but an EV swapped Hummer would be cool though.
Here you go, JJ. You got it.
I'm surprised it didn't try to tag gmail.com.
What's the ugliest car I've owned? That's a great question.
S-Type R.
No, the S-Type R is beautiful. What is wrong with you?
Worst Jag ever.
Oh man, it's a terrible car, but it looks great. Oh, what a killer. It's a secret killer. Terrible to work on. Terrible car. It doesn't make any power. It's just not good.
Ugliest car you own? I don't know. EXP?
The EXP is objectively ugly. I kind of think it's also beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
something that car guys would be like, oh, that's neat.
And the Rampage is kind of truly ugly. And like it's in a good way.
Why is 40% of the car in front of the front wheels?
It was so weird. So weird. Would you put Pac-Man in your warehouse? Absolutely not. I'm only going to put games in there I want to play, and I don't want to play Pac-Man for more than like 7 minutes. That's pretty much all there is to Pac-Man. Plus, once you know the code, like it's over. The Pac-Man pattern. Donk a C10. No. No, that's weird. You have to do a Chevy or old Cadillac or something. No Galaga, no Dig Dug. Those are all like games you emulate because they're like worthless as games. You don't need any power for them. There's no lag issues. The games you want to own are Tokyo Drift or some other mega racing game, motorcycle games, and shooting games. Shoot 'em ups. Yeah, there's a code to Pac-Man. It always runs the same pattern no matter what. Just watch it on YouTube.
Charles Gray has the real Valentine's Day questions.
What was that? I didn't see it.
Not something you can say out loud. Your mouse is right by it.
Oh, man. Funny. Hard now. What about a main build? We did that. We built that arcade cabinet over at Josh's, and I think I made a whole episode on it. It's pretty epic.
We blew up my phone. It was real fun.
We did destroy Jake's phone.
Turns out
you can't put 12 volts directly into the headphone jack.
Yeah, who knew?
It happens. It definitely happened. Golden Tee is obviously amazing, but I'm never going to buy that because you have to subscribe or it's worthless. You have to, and the only good Golden Tee is the one with the 75-inch TV. Like, you don't want the small one. And I don't like RetroPie or Raspberry Pi builds. So no. You buy real arcade games. Golden Tee is a good game. Initial D.
VW Passat W8.
Yes. Back to cars. No more games.
One of the writers for Jalopnik has one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, she likes it. I think she has two actually. There was a manual W8 wagon for sale in Kansas City a while back, which is the best worst idea I've ever heard.
Still talking about Golden Tee for some reason. Like I said, you have to pay Golden Tee like $100 a month to own the machine, or you're not allowed to use it on the network. So it's pointless. I will never buy Golden Tee.
Yeah, what about a sweet sandbox for the warehouse?
I was thinking about a sweet foam pit. But if we got a sandbox, we could get the old Tonka things with the
the diggers.
Yeah, we could have a little dig wars.
Yes.
If that'd be cool. Do you work on diesel engines? Small ones, yes. Big ones, no. I don't want to work on those because it's like everything you do on a real diesel, like my truck, it's pretty much a cab off, and I don't want to sit around pulling cabs all day. Even though the diesel guys do it in like 40 minutes.
Just put one in a Mustang like some other guy did.
There you go. Not that other guy. What would your first VinWiki story be? It's a great question. I don't know. Thoughts on HomeKit versus homebrew?
I mean,
HomeKit Native is amazing. I use HomeKit Native for everything.
The only problem with HomeKit Native is when stuff doesn't support it.
Ryan, thank you so much for your super chat. When are the epoxy floors getting done? Maybe soon. The epoxy floor guy wants to start immediately, but he also said I have to have the heat.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think epoxy flows all that great at 1 degree Fahrenheit.
That's exactly right. We basically have to get the heat running.
Wow, it's set up instantly.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully Monday or Tuesday when they hook the gas up, we'll have heat. Is there a tool you were missing and wish you had in your shop? Yes. I want a Hunter Revolution and Hunter's Road Force Balancer.
And all the dealership tools for every car.
And basically all the specialty tools for every car, because you kind of need that since I work on everything and not a brand. I'm very brand agnostic. All cars are very good. I have no idea what kind of epoxy we're using. The guy who did Johnny's floor is doing mine, and he's amazing at it. I used to use Homebridge to throw things in HomeKit, but Homebridge needed so much work to keep going, I just gave up. Wiped it out. I do need the engine table really bad, but Johnny said I could use it starting tomorrow, which unfortunately I won't be able to do because it's so cold. Still want the Volt. The Volt is sold to a subscriber. Anyway, back to the built versus bought. We need one more car. One more set of cars. What would they be? What would the built versus bought comparison be?
Viper GTS versus a Corvette build? Like, what would you have to do to a Corvette to make it compete with a GTRS?
Well, I think you could just buy a ZR1 and have a far better car than the Viper in every way. Because the Viper is always going to get wrecked no matter what, right? So it's just like, it's kind of a terrible car in reality. There's always, like, every single Viper has salvaged and the undercarriage is shot because they all went over a curb because they just are tail happy, and only the 5th gen fixed it. So if you could buy a 5th gen Viper, then it's a really good comparison. But beside the ZR1, I think I'd still want to be in the ZR1 because it's actually like very special. Elliot says it's not a fair comparison. How about a video on purchasing a used engine? It's super easy. I call J&J, which I have their phone number, so I usually just text them and I say, I need LS tomorrow. And they say, okay. And then they send me an invoice and the engine has a warranty and it's at my house in like 3 days or 4 days. So that's how you purchase a used engine. Every once in a while, if I need it like the same day, we buy them on Car Dash Part. But I mean, you just buy them in J&J or find a warranty. So Burlackers is better than DDE's Viper. I don't know. I don't know. So what are you picking? What's your argument for Viper versus Corvette?
I mean, I don't have any experience with either. So.
I see.
I don't have much fast car experience, so I'm just kind of like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. I guess you could twin turbo the Viper if Underground still did them, but they don't.
Yeah.
So there's no like winning on that car.
Oh, rear mount single.
Yeah, but that's not good. Like that's just okay.
Yeah,
it's like a Band-Aid.
Or supercharge.
Yeah, you can supercharge it. I'm pretty sure Paxton and everyone still makes kits for the 5th gen. Another, why are there so many people in Kansas becoming YouTubers? We talked about that so much earlier this video. We're not going to answer it again. iRacing? Hard no. I got rid of that thing and I will never be on. iRacing is terrible.
He only likes arcade games.
It's only fun. Like racing should be fun and relaxing, not like stressful and not fun in any way. It's just not good. Thanks, Scott. That's what's up. Do you think Dodge might come out with a new Viper? Probably. They'll probably just EV it and be like, look, it's the same thing. I don't know why anyone thought that was a good question that Martin kept asking over and over. We talked about it so much. Have you ever worked on classic British cars? Triumph, Morris, MG. We were building that Austin Healey on the channel, which is the same thing. So
I used to have it. Yeah, I used to have a Jaguar XJS.
Yep.
It was a 77. And that was before I had the channel. And boy, I wish I had that car back. So again, if anyone's selling one,
XJS,
hit me up.
George, thank you so much for your super chat. Assembled, not built. Well, everything is assembled in some way.
I prefer my cars disassembled.
Just partially, though.
Can't wreck them that way.
How about buying a monster truck? Well, we had that huge F-250 on the channel. That's kind of a monster.
That thing was hilarious.
Man, that thing was awesome to drive, too. We were literally sitting over every semi-cab. You could literally see right across the top of their trucks. That thing was huge. Huge. Yeah, that'd be cool to drive a Land Scimitar. Any 18-wheeler on the channel? I mean, you don't need this trailer. I could do a truck.
I always wanted to do the thing where you get like a wrecked 18-wheeler and put a Suburban chassis on it.
That'd be cool. We have a semi-engine that needs to go in something. Like that's a swap that needs done on the channel. Caterpillar engine with the automatic transmission. It still has the clutch. So it's like you have to like use the clutch to get into first and then it can take over. But that would be really cool to put in something. If you were getting a new GMC Denali diesel or gas, the 6.2. The 6.2 by far. It's like one of the best engines they make. John, thank you so much for your super chat. Would you ever hire an employee for the warehouse? I don't know. Don't know. We'll see. Well, yeah, it's not Bigfoot, but I don't want Bigfoot because Bigfoot's like now it's like $3 million to build every Bigfoot. Why on earth would I want that? It does nothing. Like it's only entertainment and you have to only do shows with that monster truck that pay like 30 grand an appearance. So like you don't want to own anything like that. Will you rent part of the warehouse to Hoovie First Cars? I don't think he needs it anymore because he has the hangar. Cameraman, maybe. We'll see. But yeah, Bigfoot's not a good deal. It's like the engine's $100,000 for every one of those or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your IT experience? 12 plus years and my entire life of building computers and enterprise IT for 12 years. Updates on merch. I do need some new merch, but shop WatchJRGo.com. What your XJS you want?
Mine was a 77, but ideally I would want one of the late model year ones, like a 95, when they had rust proofing.
And prettier front ends, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But really, I'd take anything. for the right price.
Absolutely.
Or free.
Ford Crown Vic fitted with a 27-liter Rolls-Royce V12 engine, the Meteor. Yeah, I don't think that fits, but I do know where I think there's a Meteor in town, right? I think it should be in my eBay watch list, but I'm pretty sure there's a Meteor here. Will you build tractors again? Probably. Build an NSX, maybe.
Ooh. How cheap are those these days, NSXs?
Which one? Gen 1, Gen 2?
Gen 1.
Gen 1s are pretty cheapish, 30, 40 grand. 40 grand for the one you want, because you want like the latest year. The NSX is the best car. I think that's a strange opinion to have. A strange. The NSX is like the most okayish of cars. What do you think of the Jaguar XJ220? I've heard from so many people it's one of the worst cars ever on the planet. Like, people beg you not to drive the XJ220 because it's one of my like absolute dream cars. You know, a record setter, beautifully built, beautiful car, and people say it's like one of the most garbage things you'll ever drive in your entire life. So I kind of don't ever want to drive one because I don't want to find out if that's true. So yeah, lots of NSXs are ragged out, so the prices will go up. And then the new NSX is pretty incredible compared to what everyone thought at the beginning. Like, it seems like it's kind of good. What happened to the Geo Tracker? Traded it for the Suzuki. Sold the Suzuki. LS Swap Porsche. Maybe.
Oh, God.
Maybe.
It's been 2 hours.
Do a collaboration with a YouTuber. Every day this week, basically. Opinions on Rob Ferretti. He's a cool guy. We've hung out. Quad turbo, no brakes. Yep. Let's do it. Let's take the brakes off them with quad turbos. The only answer is a Veyron, so we just got to take them off.
Yep. You stop by going in reverse.
Slam it in reverse fast. How is driving Hoovie's Lambo? Which one? They're all really fun. They're terrible, which makes them just amazing. Amazing cars. It's everything you expect out of those cars. It makes you very happy inside. So, thank you so much for watching the channel, Jan. I watch a lot of your blogs, and most of the OG cars don't look so rusty. Do they use salt? We actually use brine here typically, and it only happens maybe once a year, and my cars don't really get driven in it. So it's honestly like nothing gets torn up at all. Have you met with Goon Squad? Negative. I have not met them. Put it in reverse, Terry. That's what we're going to do for your brakes.
Yeah.
Would you rather a high mileage highway driven car or a low mileage city driven car? I don't think it matters. I think those are equal. Obviously the motor mounts might be intact in the highway driven car. SRT4, one of the greatest cars Dodge ever built. Love it.
Wildly expensive these days.
Oh man, 20 grand for a nice SRT4. More than an NSX almost. Like, SRT4s are special cars.
I'd probably get a Cobalt SS instead.
Yeah, but you need the turbo Cobalt SS.
Yeah.
When did I start my YouTube channel? Like so today is the obviously the founding day of YouTube, Valentine's Day 2005. Yeah, so this is literally the day YouTube started 16 years ago, and my channel started in October 05, I think. So basically right after it came out is when I started my YouTube channel, and it became like the real one about 3 years ago.
Hi, John.
Oh, what's up, Tesmer? We were talking about you. Thoughts on Sam Crat?
Only good things.
Chicken farmer, man. Building cars in the chicken coop.
Yeah.
Caliber SRT4 was something I've always wanted on the channel. Unbelievable, too. Like, way worse than the Neon, but really, really, really cool. Really cool. Did you finish the motor swap in the A6? No, because we're getting the engine lifting table. That'll make life easy. Super easy. So, thoughts on the new Mazda 3 turbos? That's a Jake area.
They look amazing. Like, in person, the front end is so low and wide that it straight up looks exotic. I haven't driven them, can't comment on that, but the previous generation drove so good that I'm sure that they're good. I don't remember if you can get a manual with the turbo or not, which I don't think you can, but
that would be cool.
Yeah, it'd be neat. It'd be kind of a revival of the Mazda Speed, but I don't think they're going to do it because there's just no demand for it. I mean, there's barely demand for the Miata, much less a hot hatch.
That is true. cars like that are going to disappear, which
Yeah.
is kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. No manual. Yeah. So, I mean, probably a great daily, but not the best enthusiast car. I'm sure the automatic is competent. Most autos are these days.
really good autos.
Like after 2016 or so, when the ZF8 became big, it's kind of hard to say that an auto is objectively bad. I don't prefer them, but I'm sure it's a great car and it looks good.
Should we talk to them about Ninja's secret fight training that he does every week? They're asking who would win in a fight, Ninja or Wizard. I don't know.
I mean, Ninja's just straight up stacks bodies.
That guy's crazy. Man. Will you ever get tired of borrowing the Ninja's tools? I haven't used the Ninja shop in a long, long time, really. Other than I just needed the lift table until I get my own.
I don't think I've ever been there. I need to borrow some of his BMW stuff, though, for the rear subframe on my car. You need, like, this $400 special tool to do the rear bushings.
Yeah, the one that presses them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a job.
I was going to buy one of those press kits because I need to do the subframe bushings on the Saab soon.
Yeah, I need to like tie up your lift for a week and just take the subframe out of that car.
You can take it out in one day if we get the lift table.
Yeah.
Super easy.
Yeah, true. It needs
easy.
all the rear bushings. I need to rebuild the shifter because you have to like drop the drive shaft out and take the trans down to do the shifter.
That makes sense. That's what I was going to go buy, an Xterra. I forgot.
Supercharged Xterra.
Yeah, probably a first-gen Xterra so we can do the supercharger on it. Do I play golf? No, we played it once. I played rent the golf carts.
I've never golfed.
I don't know. It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
We have a steel table. It's at the warehouse. Are you moving tools from your garage to the warehouse? I have a rule that no tools were going to leave my house, other than the specialty tools that I don't need here. So hopefully not one of my tools, other than the Milwaukee stuff went because it obviously was always going to go. But all of my tools themselves will stay here.
LS swap golf cart.
Been done.
Yeah, I was wanting to do that for LS Fest this year, but I don't think I'm going to get around to it.
Well, I might get around. We got lots of time till LS Fest,
True.
man.
I mean, literally, you just drop the LS4 out of an Impala SS and weld the whole subframe comes out, engine, transmission, ECU, wiring harness, suspension, and then you just
put a battery back on it.
Weld a tube frame and bolt that to the back of a golf cart, and you're done.
Boom.
That's it. That's the whole thing. It's the easiest swap ever.
You can use the belt drive, too. Mm-hmm. There were guys at LS Swap running the LS through a belt. It was really cool.
Well, I mean, you still have the 4L65, or yeah, 4T65.
4T65.
And half shafts and everything's on the subframe.
Why doesn't anyone modify an F56 Mini Cooper? Is that the turbo one or is that the supercharged one?
Aren't those trash?
I don't. First, they're all kind of bad, but they're all amazing.
They're all real hard to work on.
Yeah, but I like it. I love BMWs. I just don't know which one it is. Also, people don't like the turbo one, even though it's way better. It has like double the power.
Yeah, they drive okay.
Really, really good. Oh, the turbo one. Yeah, why wouldn't you work? Maybe the turbo ones just aren't broken yet. Maybe that's the deal, is that nobody has turbo minis that broke, other than the DI stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is it's Valentine's Day, and I am married, so I should probably get going. I'm probably already in trouble.
All right, well, we will be back on here tomorrow, not me and Jake, but Elliot and I will be back on here tomorrow to talk about the most fuel-efficient cars, which will probably turn into another EV discussion. Right
yeah,
now.
We've already been talking about EVs and Chevy Volts this whole time.
Yeah,
so.
But we could talk about the OG fuel-efficient cars that were amazing and super fun to drive.
Yeah, I drove one of them here today.
You did. You did. You brought a pretty fuel-efficient car. Are you getting 55 miles per gallon?
I wish. Mine's broken a little bit. It should be getting 60. It gets more like 45-ish. I mean, that's
what the Volt gets.
It's got 200,000 miles on it, though.
Jay, I posted the email address in the chat. Otherwise, go to the channel and click on About. Tyler, you can jump in on a stream. Anyway, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjrgo.com where you get cool shirts not like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And I will talk to you next time.
Oh, now you have to hit the button.
Yeah, now you have to take your hand away.